Live from South Bend, Indiana.
Then get ready to play for a title.
The 2023 ACC Softball Championship, presented by Auto Owners Insurance, continues through semifinals on Friday at 1 and 3:30 Eastern on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app.
We're gonna strike gold.
How are you? My name is Scott Van Pelt, host of SV Pod, along with my partner in crime, Stanford Steve. What do we talk about mostly on the podcast, Steve?
Sports.
Some.
Parenting.
I feel like that comes up a lot. I feel like most recently I've needed some help because I feel like my shortcomings there are evident. It's life stuff, relatable content.
It's fun.
It's just two bald-headed goons just talking about nonsense a lot in a crowded podcast space. There's that one.
We're here.
Here we are.
Wednesday on Canty and Carlin, the Sixers take control. They go on the road and get a huge win.
And it's a closing time for the Warriors. We'll lay out the formula for the Lakers to advance to the conference finals.
It's Wednesday, Canty and Carlin, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Yeah, Joe, is there a cure for BOB, Bama on the Brain?
There is. It's called Worry About Your Own Team.
Call Find On. Weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and the SEC.
Coming to you live from the Superbook Sports Studios in Kettering. You're listening to Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
All right, everybody, happy Wednesday. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, live with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. Mr. Kev Nash, welcome.
What up, doe?
Off and rolling here on a Wednesday. We were off yesterday, and this is your Friday, correct?
It is. Mama boy in effect. I'm going to see my mom and my grandmother for Mother's Day. Leaving tomorrow, go hang out with my mom.
Not bad. And why are you hanging out with your mom this week? Because you love her, of course.
Yes.
But,
it's Mother's Day. Sunday, Mother's Day.
So you need a day to remind you to spend time with your mom.
Hey, man, look, my mom is very busy. I'm super busy. So this is always a good excuse to go see moms and my grandma. Going to do some hanging out, going to do some shopping, going to do some good eating. Do my son thing. Since my brother lives halfway across the country, I got to do it for both of us.
It's tired. The shoulders are tired. There's that Mother's Day coming up this weekend. And in fact, thanks to our friends at First Florist, we have a $75 First Florist gift card. And me and Kev aren't allowed to use it. However, this is for you. First Florist has provided us this $75 First Florist gift card for you, our listeners. And all you have to do is text us for a chance to win this $75 First Florist gift card. And that way you can go get your mom something special from First Florist. Get her the fanciest, nicest, set of flowers you could imagine from our friends at First Florist. Text us 518-1410. And I want you to not just text us, but text us about what makes your mom the best mom in the world. So text us 518-1410. I'll be reminding people throughout the show, and then we'll select a winner and contact you following the show and tell you when you can come pick this up. Obviously, you'll have a couple days between now, and the weekend to come get this, with Mother's Day coming up around the corner. So 518-1410. Make sure you take advantage of this opportunity and text us now. Again, First Florist and Greenhouse, we appreciate them providing us with this gift card. We can't use it, right? Is that the rule? Let me read this.
I don't know.
Okay, fine. I guess I'll just have to buy my mom something.
Rules are the rules.
Rules are the rules. Yes, there you go. All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here live as we kick things off here on a Wednesday. So the number that I just told you to text, you can also call us with that. 518-1410, 518-1410. We're live on the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. We are live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, and we're live here on 1410 Wing AM. So excited to be with you. All right, so it's interesting. The NFL schedule release technically does not come out until tomorrow. But they did announce some of the games that'll be played like in Germany and some of those, out of the country games. Some of those were announced today, as well as some primetime games throughout, like on New Year's Eve, which features the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs. That one's unique because of the fact that many Bengals fans, including me, who's not a Bengals fan, thought that they would kind of kick off the year with that matchup. You'd see Chiefs and Bengals right off the bat, Monday Night Football or whatever. It would be Thursday night. When do they kick it off? Is that Thursday night?
Thursday night.
So it's just something big to kind of splash into the season. But week 1 is what I thought, but week 17 is a completely different animal. Now, I know technically week 17 is not the last week of the regular season, but, I mean, it is pretty late. My thing with that, Kev, is that's risky of the NFL. A lot of times what we've gotten the last 2 years, because of the addition of the extra regular season game due to the subtraction of one of the preseason games, we go a little longer, obviously.
Yeah.
And the thing that's crazy about the last couple of seasons since they've done this, we head into year 3 with that. The 17 and 18, they've been pointless weeks in the NFL. I'm not saying there's been 0 games that matter, but a lot of times when you got your heavy hitters like the Chiefs and like the Bengals, they've had their divisions wrapped up. Sometimes seeding is wrapped up unless a coin flip all of a sudden ruins your world. So it's a gamble by the NFL. I thought it was very interesting that Chiefs-Bengals is a Week 17 matchup. They are really counting on it coming down to that last 2 weeks, playing for a potential 1 seed out of the AFC. I mean, this is going to be a matchup about seeding, but sometimes if you've had a season that's been up and down due to injuries and other things, sometimes you might just count your blessings. You know what? We won the division. All right, we won the division. We don't have to worry about. We got home field advantage for the wild card round if we have it. Sure, if we win, we get it. All I'm saying is a lot has to go right for the NFL to get the ROI that they're expecting off of this. But Bengals Chiefs, that's as big of a game in week 1 as it is in the final weeks of the season. I don't think it needs propped up anymore. I'm surprised that they put that matchup so late in the season, Kev.
I definitely would have preferred it being very early in the season, maybe even that first game of the season, to make sure we're getting every single thing that we want, because I know the NFL, the storylines basically make themselves. And I know it's a super long season, and no matter how good one team is, it always seems like these games come down to the fourth quarter, no matter if you're the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs playing a team like the Texans, who their game came down to the fourth quarter last year in December, nonetheless. So, like, all these games are close. But I'm with you. Like, let's just make sure that we getting something out of this, because there is a situation where the season plays out, knock on wood, that there's no injuries or anything like that, or a team runs away with their division. I really don't see a team running away with their division in the AFC. I can see that happening, with Philadelphia or the Niners or something like that. But in the AFC, I think these things are going to be pretty tight throughout. But yeah, I'm with you. I think they should have had that matchup earlier in the season. And I know, the NFL, they have 32 teams, and then they have all these dates that they have to block out for whatever reason that the organizations give them. And then they want to make sure you get the back half of the season loaded with divisional games and everything like that. They have a lot of checks and balances they have to go through to make sure the schedule maps out correctly. I just would have preferred they made that one of the primetime games earlier in the season.
So the thing that's interesting about this is not a Christmas Eve game. This is a New Year's Eve game.
Right.
What is the college football playoff schedule? Are they playing on New Year's Eve as well?
No. I don't. Wait, is that next year?
This is Google the it's okay. I should have looked this up before, because it just clicked to me. Why would you even do this? I mean, this is them is this them testing the waters with going at college football? And trust me, I don't think NFL views it as going at college football. It's college football going at the NFL, no matter how you want to slice it. We love college football, but at the end of the day, the NFL is king. College football is right there, but it's still not the NFL. The reason I bring this up is because it kind of makes sense, I guess. If you're going to go New Year's Eve, you want the 2 biggest stars, like in Joe Burrow against Patrick Mahomes. Of course, you want that. That could be one reason why they've also done it, because it's also not a primetime game. It's a 4:30 game or a 4:05 game. I can't remember. It's a 4 o'clock game is all I know. It's in the 4 o'clock hour. But that's what I find interesting is that on New Year's Eve, a lot of times that is usually your college football playoff matchups, or has been in years past. What do you got?
This year, the semifinals will be played on the 1st.
So New Year's Day.
Yeah, New Year's Day. They're going to be played on the 1st because the 31st is a Sunday. So the semifinals both will be played on New Year's Day, and then the championship game that following Monday, the 8th.
Okay. So, all right, that makes a little bit more sense. But yeah, when I saw the New Year's Eve thing, that's the first thing I thought of. Well, maybe if they're going head-to-head with college football, then that's why you do Patrick Mahomes against Joe Burrow, Chiefs versus Bengals, AFC title rematch, all that type of stuff. But either way, found that interesting. As far as the international games are concerned, Kev, there are 3 games going to be held this year in London. October 1st, which is a week 4 matchup, the Falcons and the Jaguars. Week 5 will feature the Jaguars and the Bills. And then you'll have the Ravens and Titans in week 6, October 15th. Jaguars playing back-to-back weeks overseas.
I saw that.
That's the first time that we've seen a team have to play multiple games overseas. I'd be annoyed if I'm a Jags fan. I'd be annoyed if I'm a Jags player, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to fly back to the States. You're just going to stay there for those entire 2 weeks. That's a long time away from home, for sure.
And of all the teams to do that to, why the Jaguars? Is that a team that maybe they're trying to flirt with if they take them out of Jacksonville and make that be the team that they put overseas? You would think if you're the NFL, you're adding a team, not relocating a team, right?
I have no idea why you would pick Jacksonville to do that. I got nothing. I don't see it international. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is new. Like, let's not forget, like, his first year was a disaster, obviously, with Coach Meyer and everything like that. And then last year was very boom or bust. Everybody remembers the comeback victory in the playoffs, but they definitely had their bust of the season going on, and they had risen the back half of the season to make the playoffs and everything like that. So it's not like this is like a super brand name team out there to be taken overseas to be like, all right, this is the game we're pubbing to the fans. I really don't get the fact that they're over there back-to-back weeks. That's weird.
518-1410, 518-1410. I see some calls coming in. If you want to jump in on the conversation, you could do so now, and you can weigh in on our conversation here. But 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Okay, so with that being said, we'll continue down this list. There's another one coming in, Kev. Sorry, just throwing that out there. We're going down this list. So the Jaguars are an interesting team if you're going to like the fact that they're playing overseas as much as they are. The Jaguars are kind of like one of those safe teams. They probably don't have a lot of pull in the NFL. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I mean is it's one of those things where they're a safe team to send over there, Kev. They're not the best team in the NFL, but it's still a good product you're sending over there. You got Trevor Lawrence. They're a good competitive team out of the AFC. But them playing 2 times back-to-back weeks, I find weird. The only AFC North team to play overseas will be the Ravens, Kev, when they play the Titans in week 6.
Yeah, if I'm the NFL, and obviously I don't understand how this whole thing works, but I would imagine you will want to put over there some of your brand name teams like your Dallas Cowboys, your Pittsburgh Steelers, your New England Patriots, teams that transcend the United States, teams that everybody's heard of across the pond. So that's my only thing, like with Jacksonville getting 2 games over there. But you're right. Maybe they don't have a lot of pull. Maybe they don't have a lot of sway in the front office of the NFL to say, hey, we don't want to do that. Just like, you notice that the Pittsburgh Steelers have still never been on Hard Knocks. I think that's a mystery why. They don't want to be. And I'm sure they're throwing their weight around like, we're not going to be on there. Notice the Giants have never been on there either because the Rooney Mara family, they don't want to be a part of it. So you're probably right. You're probably right about Jacksonville not having enough sway at the front office with the NFL that they basically do as the league tells them to do.
You see what Kev did there, folks. He actually thought his team was interesting enough to be on Hard Knocks. Who's tuning in to watch an 85-year-old Big Ben Roethlisberger or Kenny Pickett, the 4th best quarterback in the AFC North? But you are right. That's kind of my point was sometimes there's a lot. Oh, absolutely. I wear many hater caps. It's not just for one particular team. But no, it's one of those two where you're right, though. Like the most persuasive owners in football seem to not get picked on a little bit. I mean, and by the way, the Bengals have no pull, but they haven't gone overseas either. The Browns haven't either. The Browns or the Bengals. I thought there was a good chance that one of those two teams would, and that's not the case. Hell, there was supposed to be the Dolphins at the Chiefs this year. We had Tyreek Hill returning to Kansas City. There'd been all that talk, and now that's a game that's moved overseas. In fact, that's the one that'll be played in Germany in Week 9. November 5th, Dolphins against the Chiefs. And then in week 10, November 12th, you have the Colts and the Patriots. That's kind of an matchup right there. But that Dolphins-Chiefs matchup, that's big, especially if quarterbacks are healthy and weapons are healthy. That's a big one right there that you're sending overseas.
Yeah, like you want to see Tyreek Hill back at Arrowhead or Burrowhead, wherever they call it.
No, Kev.
They want to see that, man. Like, and we want to see that as a fan base. And I always watch these overseas games, and they just, not only do they look weird, maybe because it's the stadium, but they sound weird. They sound like soccer games. Like it doesn't have that rowdy atmosphere that we're so used to in American football. That just doesn't look right. It doesn't seem right. But is here to stay.
Plus, we do the Sunday morning tailgate show, and a lot of times those games are going
Yeah.
on. Is usually we do the Sunday morning tailgate to preview that week's days of games.
And I always forget to get my fantasy lineup in.
Those always get everyone. But you did something there I don't like. You called it Burrowhead. Do I need to remind you? It's not. It's not.
What happened?
Burrowhead my ass! Whoa! It's Mahomes' house!
It's Mahomes' house.
Mahomes'
Do
house.
not
Got
call
it.
it Burrowhead.
My bad. Did I tell you Travis Kelce went to my high school?
Well played. Kidder and Kev, 1410 ESPN Radio, opening up with some of the schedule being sprinkled out today, all the international games and some of the holiday games. New Year's Eve game, the Chiefs in Week 17. You'll have the Chiefs and the Bengals AFC Championship rematch. Of course, that's the matchup that a lot of people were anticipating early in the season. I actually thought it would be Week 1. And it doesn't need to be Week 1, by the way. I just thought that a lot of times you get Week 1. Sometimes you'll get like a Super Bowl rematch, or you'll get like a divisional championship rematch, or just something. And plus, the NFL's so big. Whatever we get Week 1, it'll be fine. I just thought that would be at the top of the order right off the bat.
Yeah, think about last year's first game of the season. It was what? The Rams and the Bills, right?
Right off the bat.
Yeah, that's like a high-profile matchup. Yeah.
And that, that's before we knew that the Rams would just kind of crumble and fall apart and injuries take over. But at the time, that was a big one. So, all right, 518-1410, 518-1410. The thing that was wild today, and I did it too. Now, I was corrected. I never admit when I'm wrong. I did with some people on Facebook today. I was pissed about the 17 matchup because I'm like, oh, yeah, that's just what we want, is a big-time showdown between the Chiefs and the Bengals with their backup quarterbacks playing in a meaningless Week 17 game. Now, it's brought to my attention that Week 17, that's not the last. There's 17 games, but there's not 17 weeks. It's that 18 weeks because the bye week pushes everything back one. So technically, that's the NFL is really counting on that being for potentially the 1 seed, or the top 2 seeds or what have you, a lot on the line there, home field advantage and that type of stuff. But if not, we've seen the Bengals and the Chiefs and the Bills and a lot of the top teams in the AFC and the Browns this year. They're going to be there. A lot of those teams in the last couple of weeks, they're sitting and resting guys. They're meaningless games because once they get the division wrapped up, or they the Eagles had to, feel that out last year. They had the division wrapped up. I mean, they were fine. They had the 1 seed wrapped up, and they had about 3 weeks to go, and they were trying to balance, like, okay, what do we do here? We'd hate to get hurt in these next 2 or 3 weeks playing in these meaningless games where we can't improve seed-wise. We've won the division. What do we do? But we also don't want to be stale heading into the playoffs. We've seen that where sometimes a bye week or off time could kind of flatten momentum for a team heading in. It's tough to balance that. So the NFL is really counting on the Bengals Chiefs to be for all the marbles when it's all said and done. But let's go to the phone lines. 518-1410. Kev, who's kicking us off?
Jerry, line 1.
Jerry, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Gentlemen, how we doing this afternoon?
Hey.
Hey, I believe the Jacksonville owner, Shad Khan, is a citizen of the UK, and I think he actually petitioned, if I'm not mistaken, I think you can Google this.
That's
I think
a very
he
good
actually
point.
He petitioned the NFL to have his team in London every year.
Wow.
I believe that's the case because he's from there. And I think they're actually setting it up for him to move the team there. At least that's
what I'm finding, Jerry, you're right. The owner has petitioned to play every year in London. The Jaguars fans have created their own petition to fight against playing every season in London. Now, I don't know if that means like playing every season in London for 1 or 2 games or like moving it. Now, this article that's as recent as this year said Shad Khan has no plans to move the Jaguars to London, according to Bleacher Report. However, that's a good connection there. I hadn't connected those dots. I just thought it was weird that they're the first team to ever play 2 overseas games in 1 season. So anyways, very good point. Valid.
So obviously you got to volunteer. They're not going to, the path of least resistance, right? So, hey, I wanted to get a quick NBA question into you guys. Obviously you guys know I'm a Laker fan. It would be absolutely sweet in this Warriors dynasty tonight in San Francisco. Nothing would make me more happy. I think in order for the Lakers to win tonight, I want to get your guys' opinion about this. They have to do what they did in the fourth quarter the other night and put Steph Curry in the pick and roll just every time, make that dude defend. And I can't believe, but we got to hope that Steve Kerr does not put Anthony Davis in the pick and roll and pull him away from the basket. I still can't believe Golden State did that in the fourth quarter. They were getting layups.
Yep.
And why they went away from it, I'll never know, but thank goodness. So let's go Lakers. I'll hang up and hear what you guys have to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Jerry. We're going to get to a lot of NBA stuff coming up, but just go ahead and answer.
Yeah, I think that the Warriors win tonight, and then the Lakers close them out back at Staples. I mean, Crypto, whatever it's called.
It's always Staples, man. We're old now. It's Staples. It's one of the. I ain't changing with the times. I adapt. It's always Staples Center.
Yeah, I think the Warriors get it done tonight and push it. But I think that he's right. I mean, what they were able to do with GP2 playing basically the power forward position for them, and Anthony Davis guarding him, he has to come out, and then they make the driving lanes open for him because, I mean, Anthony Davis is a supreme shot blocker. So you get a guy diving to the basket like a Wiggins, he's going to make acrobatic finishes or dunks, everything like that. But I don't know why they went away from it. And I think that Jordan Poole gets little to no playing time tonight.
What, he averaging 3 points a game this series, a 20-point per game score, and getting 3 points per game in this series.
Oh, man, he's shooting like me.
So there's that. But we'll get into some NBA stuff coming up in a moment because it's interesting. In today's NBA, it's all about the three. It's all about guard play. But there's something very old school about a lot of the teams. 75% of the teams, about 80% of the teams that are left. There's something very old school about the theme of this year's NBA playoffs, which we'll get to coming up here in just a moment. We have a couple other guys and gals on hold that we'll get to here in just a second. But just to regroup here, the Bengals Chiefs Week 17 New Year's Eve matchup. It's a 4:00 kickoff or 4:30, whatever it is, in the afternoon. People make a big deal. Can't believe that's not prime time. It's Chiefs Bengals. I don't think the time makes it a primetime game. I think the matchup does. If all the marbles are on the line, if it's for the number one seed in the AFC, that's prime time to me. I don't know about you, but the NFL, 1:00. When the Browns and Bengals and whoever kicks off at 1, there's nothing bigger than prime right there at 1:00. I don't care about the time of which we call
What's
prime.
the date of the game?
New Year's Eve.
And where do we live?
United States of America.
Ohio.
Of America.
It's kicking off at 4:00. It's going to be dark. So that's prime time enough for me.
That's valid. I can't wait for that. I'm the only one that
You are the only one that
hate
loves
daylight.
that. Goodness.
When I get off work and I go home and there's daylight, I feel guilty sitting there doing nothing. When I get off work and I go home and it's dark, I'm like, it's bedtime.
I love when was it July when the sun doesn't even go down till like 9:15. I love it. Love it.
Tea times.
See,
you can golf. Okay. There's light at the end of that time.
1 hour shows in the summer.
Let's do another one. Yeah. 518-1410. Kev, who we got next?
We got Chris line too.
What up, Chris? Thanks for holding, sir. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, I hate this Bengals and Chiefs game, Week 17. Just, injuries happen. I would like to see these two teams at the beginning of the season when they're, injury-free and, full go here. It's hard telling after 17 weeks how banged up they're going to be. Plus, I know it's not Week 18, but you are going to get into that rest point, especially if one of the teams has a big lead on their division. I don't like it. I think it should have been a little on, but early in the season to see these two big teams in the AFC go at it would have been a lot better, in my opinion.
Chris, let me ask you. I know this sounds like a silly question, but I know home field matters. It definitely matters, but at the expense of risking it, like if you have your division wrapped up, you have home field for that wild card game, and you're in division champs. You feel you're Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase. You have the full gambit of weapons there. It's going to be tough if they get to that point where they have to weigh whether or not they want to rest guys or not, but they want to play for that one seed. As fans, let me ask it this way. The team would want to play, but do fans care about the one seed? Do you care about the one seed?
Yeah. I think, if that game's possibly played in, Paul Brown last season, you might possibly have a different outcome.
It's home field advantage. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if the one seed's available, they're going to play, but who's to say that it's even going to be available? 17 weeks, a lot can happen. What if, God forbid, Burrow or Pat Mahomes gets injured? That game doesn't mean nothing at that point. So I would rather have seen it, week 1, 2, 3, something like that, and just watch them go at it.
I didn't realize, by the way, the Bengals have played. They played at the time, they were the Redskins, but they played the Commanders overseas, I guess, in a tie game. How long ago was that?
I don't remember.
Yeah. How long ago? Because Ryan Strong and Ryan Holzapfel.
Andy Dalton era.
Yeah, this was obviously a while back. Last thing for you before we let you go real quick. Here's why, if you're a Bengals fan, you should be excited that they're playing later in the season. You brought up injuries and stuff, but the Bengals, especially during Joe Burrow's era here, as great as they are to finish the season, they are horrible to start the season. The Bengals have been god-awful the last opening months of the season, the last 2 years. A lot of it's because of injuries in the offseason and trying to transition back in, coming in late into camp. Who knows what's going to happen between now and camp and all that, but at least the Bengals are usually a well-oiled machine by the end of the season, so they'll be at their best by the time they get to the Chiefs late in the season. But, if they did play the Chiefs in week 1, the Bengals have not been good to start the season the last couple of years with Joe Burrow. It's like they've been kind of a slow starting team. So maybe there is that spin to it, if you will.
I think the division has actually caught up to us a lot. I feel like every team in the AFC North drafted really well, and the Browns didn't even have to pick until the 3rd round. But we cannot afford to start out slow this year. I think there's just too much going on. And actually, I think the AFC North is going to be the toughest division in the league. Even Pittsburgh is going to be tough.
Absolutely, man. Hey, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate your take, man.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, so social media today, Kev, I added to it. Bengals fans pissed about that matchup, week 17. Just for a lot of the things we've just talked about already, but I was taken back by that.
Mm-hmm.
But we're also impatient too. I don't want to wait for the whole season to get Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes. I kind of want to see it, early, or as early as we can, not week 17. But I get why they're doing it.
That what the NFL is hoping, obviously, that this is for the number 1 seed. This is for something that really means something heading into the playoffs. But I do think that people are making a little too much of what if people are resting guys all the way at that point? Only Philadelphia was a team that was resting guys all season long. Once they locked up their division, we always get this in our minds that oh man, this team is so good. They're going to run away with the division. And they never do. The Kansas City Chiefs are awesome. They're the Super Bowl champions. They did not run away with their division. They didn't lock it up until 17 last year. I believe that's when they officially had it locked up. They looked like they were going to lock it up. All intents and purposes, they did, but officially have it. They're the division champions. They're punching their ticket. It was really only Philadelphia that ran away with the division, that had things locked up in week 14. So I'm not with, but them and everybody talking about hey man, we want to guarantee that we're getting Mahomes, we're getting Burrow, we're getting everybody at their best, not banged up and everything like that. I'm with you there, but not as much as man, there's not going to be nothing on the line.
The last 2 seasons, though, the Bengals have played meaningless games in the last week of the regular season. Jamar Chase, I thought it was a very weak move on his part, who's super talented, but I thought it was beyond weak to go out and play a couple possessions to get your catch to break the rookie catching or whatever, receiving record, right, and then go. I thought that was weak, and I'd say it was weak if it was a Cleveland Brown or anybody. I just thought that was cheap and whatever. But I bring that up because that's the point, is they were resting everyone that game. Right. They've done that the last 2 years, but that's because that's how good they are. But the one reason they do that is because they had the division wrapped up, but they didn't have a chance for the 1 seed. I don't think the Bengals are the best team in the AFC. I think they have as good a chance as most of the top teams there to get to the Super Bowl, but I don't think they're going to be there standing when it's all said and done. As far as the 1 seed, I think there's a good chance if the Bengals are division champs or the division has been settled by then, and you can't fight for that 1 seed, maybe you're still positioning, I guess, for that 2 and 3 or whatever. Either way, bottom line, Chiefs Bengals week 17. It's a long way away. It's May. I'm not going to complain about a game that's on December 31st or whatever the hell it is. So there you go. All right. So with that being said, we know that the week 1 matchup for the Cincinnati Bengals will not be the Kansas City Chiefs. But who, Bengals fans, would you love to see be their week 1 opponent? Who would you like to see be their week 1 opponent? The Cleveland Browns? How about Joe Burrow against Lamar Jackson? Who are the opponents? Who is the opponent that you would love to see Cincinnati kick off the 2023 season open with? The Buffalo Bills again? Who do you want to see the Bengals open up with? 518-1410. Give us a call. 518-1410. I want it to be the Browns. I want Browns-Bengals to kick it off. I want that right off the bat. I want Deshaun Watson against Joe Burrow. I want Bengals versus Browns. I want it in Cincinnati, by the way. I want it prime time under the lights. on national television so that everyone can watch Deshaun Watson and the Browns whoop your asses. I cannot wait. Let's go Browns. Now, that's what I want, but what do you want? 518-1410. Give us a call. Who do you want the Bengals to play in week 1? We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast, mostly clear skies, 51 tonight, sunny and 83 tomorrow. Rain on Friday, high of 77. I'm Rick Schreck for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Urology Specialists of Ohio are here for you. Men, your good health is important to them. Their knowledge of specific male anatomy, prostate issues, and how to help in your healing is their main focus. Urology Specialists of Ohio are now accepting new patients at all locations: Beaver Creek, Springfield, Urbana, Xenia, and London. They have been in practice for over 20 years with over 80 years of experience between 5 physicians. Call today. They can schedule your appointment in a timely manner with little wait time. Online at urologyspecialistofohio.com.
By now, you should know Audio Etc. has all the same sales and deals on TVs and projectors as everyone else. But did you know we also have some of the world's best hi-fi? Hi, this is Kirby from Audio Etc. And we do have some of the best home theater, high-fidelity gear on the planet. Not only do we have your favorite brands like Clip speakers and SVS subwoofers, but audiophile greats from Bowers & Wilkins, Kef, NAD, Marantz, Cambridge, Mark Levinson, and plenty of vinyl and tube gear. Plus exotics you only see in the magazines. Stop by today and visit Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom and see and audition the best audio and video has to offer. While you're in, check out our huge selection of pre-owned vintage gear. A great way to afford great gear otherwise out of reach, or revisit old classics. Audio Etc. Sound advice you can trust. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
In my job, I never held back. I played hurt and I pushed through the pain. Sound familiar?
Football legend Emmitt Smith had a reputation for just grinding through the injuries and pain over and over. That may be you. And QC Kinetics sees patients every day who are exhausted from dealing with the persistent pain.
A lot of you work physically demanding jobs. You stand, you climb, you bend down, you reach up. And if you have joint pain, it takes all you got to earn a living. But it's time you know about QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics, the leaders in regenerative treatments, help relieve that debilitating joint pain without surgeries or downtime. These are natural solutions that use your body's own healing properties to give you lasting relief from the soreness and achiness.
You got a job to do. I get it. But now you don't have to suffer through the pain. Check out my friends over at QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Get shopping at the Centerville Merchant Market. It's free to attend and happens on May 21st at Stubbs Park in Centerville. Shop with more than 100 small businesses, plus food trucks, live music, free raffle prizes, and more. It happens only on May 21st from noon to 5 p.m. at Stubbs Park in Centerville.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Happy Mother's Day from the Flower Man. This year for Mom, we have beautiful, cutable arrangements at $12.99 and a dozen roses for only $12.99. Inconceivable. Thank you, Flower Man, and thank you, Mom. Roses, arrangements, and flowers from all over the world for Mom. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you, with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet Joe A, Joe B, and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with the Chase mobile app. Joe B is cruising toward his new ride with AutoSave. And Joe C's Chase banker is helping him budget to go back to school. Tools that help protect. Support for what's next. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase. Make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Messaging and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale is here. Save up to $500 on select Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets and get a $300 instant gift.
All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Again, 518-1410. That's the number to call into the show or text the show. And right now, if you take advantage of texting the show, thanks to our friends at First Florist and Greenhouses, with Mother's Day coming up this weekend, they provided us with a $75 gift card.
Nice.
That we are going to be giving away randomly to any listener that participates between now and 6 o'clock. Text us 518-1410. Tell us why you have the best mom in the world.
I'm going to argue with that.
I'm going to argue with every single one of y'all, but the best one.
Penny's the best mom in the world. See you this weekend, Mom.
First Florist and Greenhouses right here. Again, text us 518-1410. 518-1410. If you don't want to send a big old long sappy text, that's fine. Just send a text that just says how much you love your mom. That's all you got to do. Make sure you leave your name in there too so we can contact you. $75, First Florist and Greenhouses. Surprise your mom on Mother's Day this weekend with a beautiful arrangement of flowers, thanks to our friends at First Florist and Greenhouses. So there you go. But text us 518-1410. So there's that. All right. Opening up earlier today, some of the schedule was announced. The obviously a lot of the overseas games have been announced. International games have been announced, and some of the holiday games have been announced. I think you have Dolphins and Jets. That'll be the Black Friday matchup. I don't think there's ever been a Black Friday game before,
no.
Correct? So that's kind of like that matchup itself is unique. That's a division game. It's Tua against Aaron Rodgers. It's Dolphins, Jets, two of the top teams in that division. That the East is just going to be beyond fun to watch as far as that's concerned. Love that one. But the one that got everyone talking, having a hot take one way or another, was that Chiefs and Bengals matchup in Week 17. It's New Year's Eve. That's why they put two of their heavy hitters there. It's as simple as that. But I understand everyone's complaints. They're valid. A lot can happen between Week 1 and Week 17. Injuries. You could end up with the backup quarterbacks for one of those teams if the quarterback goes down. Like the earlier in the season that they play, the better ROI you're going to get on that matchup. But at the same time, folks, to act as if the NFL is in a situation where the only two teams they have are the Bengals and the
Right.
Chiefs. Like, that's the thing. Every player can get injured on the not the Browns. They've had enough on the Bengals and Chiefs. Every star player can get injured between now and the kickoff to week 1. It wouldn't have an impact on the season because that's how many stars there are in the league. Great matchups, storylines, all that. You need Patrick Mahomes. You need your guys like Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong, but let's not act like that's the only, like the NFL is just ruining this whole thing because they moved it back. But that matchup you would love to see earlier, but it is what it is. If it does work out that they are fighting for the 1 seed and all that, they'll look like scheduling geniuses when it's all said and done. So it is what it is.
So when that got announced, I immediately went to Kansas City's future schedule and see who their remaining opponents were, because I want to see what that Thursday opening night game is going to be. And I mean, it has to be a Super Bowl rematch. It has to be Philadelphia and Kansas City to open up the regular season. It has to be, because that's like the powerhouse other team on their schedule. You're not going to open up with the Bears. You're not going to open up. Maybe you could with the Lions. Maybe you could with the Bills. Maybe a divisional opponent like the Chargers or the Raiders or the Broncos. But for the money, for all the eyeballs in the world, you're going to get a rematch of that Super Bowl, because that Super Bowl was awesome. I think the first game of the season is going to be Philly at KC.
All right. 518-1410. I do want to hear from Bengals fans, because now that you know, and the reason we're doing this is because week 1 was supposed to be what everyone thought would be the rematch, the AFC Championship rematch, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Chiefs, Bengals in week 1. That's not the case. That's week 17. So now we don't know. We're going to find out tomorrow night. 8:00 is the schedule release show, and we'll know who the week 1 opponent is for the Bengals. And so with that being said, the question is now that you know it's not going to be the Chiefs, what's that week 1 matchup that you would love to see the Bengals kick it all off against? You do have Josh Allen and the Bills, who you beat in the playoffs, you beat in the divisional round, you won at Buffalo to set up that rematch in the AFC Championship against Kansas City. All right, so you have that. You have Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. You beat Baltimore in the wild card round last year. Took that, that humongous play, that defensive stand right there again. We get all that. But that wasn't Lamar. That was Huntley. Lamar is back. They've added weapons. They're confident now. We don't know if he sat out and was capable of playing or not last year. Was that a contract thing or what? Who knows? But a lot of people keep saying that, including me, the Ravens win that division the last 2 years if Lamar doesn't go down hurt. We can't guarantee it, but we're going to sit there and act like, when he's out there, that's the number 1 team in the AFC North every year. That's not even a hot take. The standings and the wins reflect that. Every year that he has gone out injured, they go from first to worst every time, or first to second to last in that division. That's a fact. So the bottom line is the Bengals still want to prove that, okay, we've beat up on the Lamar-less Ravens quite a few times. We want to pummel Lamar and the Ravens week 1. Just let them know, hey, we're the captain of the ship around here, right? They want to let them know. You also have the Browns, another divisional matchup. The Steelers, who they opened up with last year. I don't see that happening again 2 years in a row.
Bring it on.
And the Steelers are going to be that team that no one's paying attention to, that is going to be a pain in the arse for every AFC North fan out there. I think it should be Cleveland. I really do. For one, I want it to be Cleveland. I want Cleveland. I want Deshaun against Joe Burrow. I want Browns Bengals week 1. I want that to set the tone for the AFC North moving forward. I wouldn't mind the Ravens either. I know sometimes we want to see those non-divisional games to tip or to kick everything off, but I think the AFC North is so big. It's so talented, and it's going to take all 18 weeks of the season to figure it all out. I'm really hoping we're getting one of those matchups. But I think Deshaun versus Burrow, Cleveland versus Cincinnati. I want it prime time. I want it in Cincinnati because I enjoy when the Browns win, Kev, but I enjoy it more when they do it in Cincinnati. And honestly, the Bengals have got their ass kicked in Cincinnati by the Browns. At will lately. I know they won in Cleveland, but Cleveland's owned Cincinnati in Cincinnati. I would love that to kick off the season. I'm not guaranteeing that the Browns win that one, not yet, but I'm just saying I think that would be the funnest. I think that rivalry is officially here. I think now that you have all the noise behind you, you're moving into the season with Cleveland, of course. You revamp that roster, new defensive coordinator, offensive line, run game, everything you have all set. That's a perfect balance right there with the Bengals. I hope that that's the week 1 matchup. That's what I want.
I would go Buffalo to be the first one. Obviously there's so much storylines there. You went up to Buffalo, won on their home field in the playoffs. Obviously the tragedy that happened at Paycor Stadium with the Buffalo Bills, you never got to see that game. Now you get to see that game. It's the first week of the season. I would prefer the Bengals, Bills week 1, and then name whatever division opponent, be it from the Steelers, Browns, or Ravens. That would be like my number 2. But I definitely want to see that Bills matchup for sure.
And I'm fine with that too. I mean, if you're going to get Joe Burrow against Patrick Mahomes, if that's what you want, Joe Burrow against Josh Allen, who, as much as I love the divisional opponents, the Super Bowl contending division that the Bengals have put themselves in, that's been a division by itself that features Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. That's why I'm fine with either of those matchups. The good thing is we know that the NFL, they know what they have in Cincinnati. They know that Joe Burrow and company, they bring ratings. They're going to bring ratings because they're not a liked team. They're a liked team by their fans. Hold on, let me reword that because you're going to take that as trolling. They are the Memphis Grizzlies, except they back it up better than the Grizzlies do, although they still are like the Memphis Grizzlies without a championship, but that's besides the point. The point is they do a lot of talking, a lot of jawing. I made that comparison last year. Now, Memphis went in a different direction. They're very unlikable right now, but Cincinnati felt pretty unlikable at the tail end of last year. You had the mayor making dumb comments. I saw, by the way, I did like the way he played it today. They announced the Chiefs matchup. Remember, he did that very corny, like little announcement, the coin flip thing and all that. And he called it Burrowhead, and he was doing all that. He's the one that started that mess to begin. So today they had Orlando Brown in his office recording it. And he goes, oh, the mayor, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, Chiefs, Bengals, week 17. And I'm not saying anything else. So they had fun with it. I thought it was kind of cool. But the Bengals were very unlikable at the tail end of last year. But that brings ratings, folks, because people are tuning in to watch you lose. And I think that's why you get that with the Bills. So I think the Bills make a great matchup for that as well.
Yeah, I think that nobody likes anybody. You don't like the Steelers. You don't like the Ravens. You don't like the Bengals. You don't like the Bills. You don't like anybody but your team. I don't like anybody but my team. I think it just is what it is. Like, and obviously us being super close to Cincinnati, we're engulfed with Cincinnati Bengals fans. They're going to rep their team just like you're going to rep your team. I think this is all it is. Nobody likes anybody. I'm not all here like, oh man, I love hanging around New York Giants fans. I don't. My aunt's a New York Giants fan. I can't stand her when the football season comes around. I don't like hanging around Raiders fans. My best friend's a Raiders fan. I don't like any fan base. I like the black and yellow, and that is it.
Oh, that's fantastic. This ain't about the fan bases, though. This ain't about the fan base, though. This is about the team. Mm-hmm. The team became unlikable. Teams hated the Bengals. In fact, I don't know if you saw today. I guess, the NFL Network, they put out like the top 100, and that'll come out like closer to the season. But that's configured by the players. Well, some of these ballots are being leaked. Like the players are filling those out now. Mm-hmm. And they've already released 4. Now, you don't have the names of the players that have filled these out. But Joe Burrow is not on any, or he's on one that he's number 18 as the 18th best player. There's no Bengals on any of these. Jamar Chase, none of them. They have names on. So my point is they're unlikable. The league hates them. The teams in the league hate them. They're cocky. They're arrogant. They run their mouth. And so that's what I'm talking about. But because of that, it creates that dynamic in a game where you feel like, oh, these two teams hate one another. Mm-hmm. And I like that. We as fans like that. Even if we don't realize it, that's why some of you that say you don't like the NBA today because they're friends before the game. They're taking pictures before, smiling and hugging after. They don't hate one another. Teams hate one another in the NFL at times, and that's what I like. That's why I made that Chiefs matchup so fun, that rivalry, because you could tell they just can't stand one another. The respect might be there, but they can't stand one another, and that's what I like. And that's what I like. I think it kind of makes that thrive a little bit, if you will. All right, 518-1410. Ro, what up, Ro? Ro says he's back from New York, by the way.
How was NYC?
He goes, by the way, he did say that they should have all division games the first week of the season. Do you agree?
I don't disagree, but you got to spread those things out. You got to let, I know there's no warm-up games in the NFL like there are in college football, but you can't do that. You gotta spread it out.
You benefited from that last year, though.
We did.
You did.
We did.
You did.
And we didn't make the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs.
Do the Jets play the Bengals this year? Why don't I? I just exited out of their opponents because Steve Statler says Rodgers versus Burrow.
They do not play this
year.
They
do not. So, okay, that could potentially be an AFC showdown. The Browns play the Jets, but the Bengals do not play the Jets. Steve, I'm with you. If the Jets played the Bengals, I would be pushing for Rodgers versus Burrow in week 1. I think that would be a fun one. Doug Toby says he wants to see a bottom feeder, either like Houston, the Colts, Cleveland, or Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah. Keep laughing. Yeah, I was going to say, I wait.
We'll get that audio Minka Fitzpatrick pick 6 to start the season off.
Now, come on, Kev. Be respectful. Come on now. Damon Hahn says, bring on the Bills. So there you go. Let's see. Ron Howard, every year, Browns fans think this is their year. Never. Oh, go enjoy your quarterback, Ron. You earned it. All right, 518-1410. Kev, who's up?
We got Brian, line 1.
What up, Brian? How are you, sir? Welcome.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Who do you want to see the Bengals play week 1?
I am on the camp of we saw what happened last year when we played a horrible team week 1, and the Steelers, as bad as they were, we played worse that day, and we lost. So I'm all about like a Houston or an Arizona before they get their stuff together with all these new pieces. Let's try to get a little tune-up game in.
It's not bad, Brian, because here's the other thing too, and I brought this up with the previous caller, that the Bengals have actually been kind of a slow starting team. They've been like a 500 team in the first 6-7 weeks of the season. They've been roughly 500, a game above 500 in the first 7 weeks the last 2 years. They kind of get hot mid-season. Now, to be fair to them, a lot of that has had to do with Joe Burrow coming off the season-ending injury his rookie season. Right. And then last year, of course, you had the appendectomy that he had. So, there's been reasons why. But at the same time, we don't know if that's why it's been the slow start or if it's just been other things. We'll see what ends up happening. But you're right. Maybe that would benefit the Bengals to have a more easier kind of flow into the season.
Now, I know the last couple of years, obviously with the injuries and the appendix, they didn't have him playing any preseason games. Do you think with a healthy offseason this offseason that'll change, or do you think we're still going to not see him till week 1?
When Kev jumps on, he popped off for a second. I want him to answer that too. The thing that's interesting, I'm glad you brought that up because that's always the big preseason thing. Sean McVay and the Rams started that where they don't play any of their starters throughout the preseason. Right. They started slow as well, but we saw that they never really picked it back up, injuries and stuff. But Kevin, Brian brought up the fact that, will we see them not play any starters or play all the starters to kind of help kind of get them to a faster start this year? Do you think teams make a different approach to preseason?
Yeah, I say go ahead and play them. I say go ahead and play because you want to be in that rhythm. There's no mystery why Kansas City always starts the season hot. They always start the season hot. Right. They're out there rolling Mahomes, the first team, offensive line, receivers out there. The first week of the preseason for an entire quarter, and then they ramp it up for a whole half the second quarter. Like, you got to get that rhythm because, like, these practices aren't.
Practice reps will take you so far.
Yeah, these aren't the same practices that were in the 80s and 90s and everything like that. They're playing touch football in these practices. And that's why these preseason games are so important because you really get a real look at your team.
Awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate it, guys. I'll keep listening.
Brian, you the man. Appreciate you.
Yep, sit.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. I do think, by the way, the Bengals slow starts the last couple of seasons. Is that just more, are they a slow starting team, or do you? I think it has something to do with Joe Burrow's injury the year before, the appendectomy last year. It's annoying. I don't like giving him those benefits of the doubt, but like we saw once he did get kind of eased in, that he got better. But is that just a coincidence, or is that who they are? Are they a slow starting team? I think as long as everything's relatively healthy to start the season, we'll find out if it's been health issues that have led to the slow start the last couple of years, or if they're just a slow starting team. If that's the case, I like Brian's, the last caller, his take when he brought up maybe a Arizona or a Houston or a Colts or someone to kind of ease into the season.
Not the rust off.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a legit excuse or / reason. He's coming off the injuries and everything like that. But not only that, you have to adjust to who your team is now. And that's why I think it's so important to really play your guys in preseason football, because you find out who they are under fire in a real type of matchup. Just because the opponent across from you may be mailing it in on defense, you as a team are going out there full force. You're working on your stuff. And I mean, he didn't play. Like, the first real snap was against the Steelers, and the Steelers are coming in there with a new disguise on defense that he hadn't seen before, and it worked to 4 interceptions. So did I expect that to happen in the next matchup? Heck no. And it didn't happen in the next matchup. He carved us in the next matchup because, like, all right, he got his rhythm down. Not only him getting his rhythm down, the coaches, like, okay, we may have to morph some of the things that we doing on offense because maybe we do this better this year than we did last year and things of that nature. So like I said before, I'm all for playing guys in the preseason. I have no problem with it. And I know people are like, what if they get hurt in the preseason, meaningless game? Hey man, this is football, dude. It is what it is.
Yeah. And like to act as if, so by not playing in a preseason game, like to act as if they're not doing physical stuff in practice. And if they're not doing physical stuff in practice, and it's no wonder they're soft as Charmin to start the season, right? Because the first time they're legitimately getting hit. Now, to be fair, I've talked to a lot of guys like, that played in the NFL and that are playing in the NFL that do say that, yes, even when you get hit in practice, it's not
Right.
you're getting hit.
It's thudding.
But you have guys who are hitting you, but also because you're their guy. They're gonna,
Why do you
ease
think
up.
all these fights happen at these inter squad scrimmages?
To release their rage for the first time,
like, hey,
right?
man, this ain't my teammate. I don't care. Like, I'll go for his knees. I don't care. He ain't on my team. Yeah, that's why it happens.
So let's see. Rose said New York was a blast. He said it was a lot of fun. Let's see more. Oh, Doug Toby, just again, more shots at Browns fans. He goes, if Cleveland ever won 12 games, you never hear the end. Where did 12 games come from?
Oh, going for the whole 12, eh?
Yeah, but like, I don't understand. Like, why was that the number? Is it because you went back, like the most wins they've had in a season as of late was like 11 a few years ago. So you just went one game above it. Like, where did the 12 wins come from? By the way, it's not that we never hear the end of it. It all comes down to how you finish. I don't want to win 12 games just to lose in the AFC Championship game. I don't want to win 12 games just to, again, fall up short in the Super Bowl. Like, it's great that you're getting there a lot further than what my team is doing. But at the end of the day, when the results are the exact same as my team, I don't really know what you're bragging about at this point. Let's see. Keith Tolliver says, see, this has midseason vibes to it. I love it. Bengals should want a good team in week 1. They usually lose anyways. Damon Hahn says T. Higgins was banged up early in the season last year as well. Ring that bell. Thank you. That was a perfect on time, right on point there. Kev, who's next?
Riverside Rick. But before you get to Riverside Rick, I'm looking at what you were talking about with the NFL top 100 players. Some of this stuff is kind of laughable. Like, where's the one? Where did I lost it? Goodness gracious. So they had Aaron Donald at top 5 when Aaron Donald only played 10 games last year. Also on that same list, they had Lamar Jackson at number 7. Like, so
if you read the top of those, though, it does say it's not about your whole career. It's about who you are as a player heading into the season. It's not about that.
Okay.
No, it does. Like,
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying you still got to take into account what they did last year.
But it says not to. It says like who they are as a player. I mean, if a guy gets injured, that doesn't make them a less talented player. I don't know.
I like this one though. It's got Nick Bosa in the top 5. I like that.
Does it have Joe Burrow in the top 5?
Nope.
Nope, it does not.
This one is Josh Allen, Mahomes, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Tariq Hill, Kelsey, Adams, Kittle, Hurts, Aaron Donald, Burrow, Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Nick Chubb, Cooper Kupp, Derwin James, Quentin Williams, A.J. Brown, and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, if you're wondering, so some of these, so the NFL Network does the top 100 players. The players are polled on this, and then they're released in increments like the 100 through 90, and then you'll have 89 through 80 and all this stuff. And those will be released like in the month leading into the season and all that. But because it's list season at that point.
Yeah, there's Jamar Chase clocking in at number 4 on the ballot.
So some of these are coming out. We don't know which players are releasing these, but the point is that the Bengals are not as well respected on these leaked ballots as what you would think that they would be, which went to my point earlier, that this is not about whether fan bases like one another. I think that the Bengals are an unlikable team in the league because they do a lot of jawing, they do a lot of talking, but they're young. But I compared them to the Grizzlies in years past. I think it's a little the Grizzlies took a turn for the worse this year, though. They became unlikable and unable to back it up. The Bengals were at least kind of backing it up a bit. I know they lost in the AFC Championship game, they lost in the Super Bowl, but they're at least getting there. The Grizzlies aren't even winning playoff series while John. So there's a difference where I'll stop making that kind of comparison as far as that's concerned.
I like the penmanship of some of these guys. Nice penmanship.
No doctors in there, huh? No doctors?
No.
So, you
can actually read this. This is like my nephew's handwriting. Very good. I like that. Kudos.
All right, let's close it out with who?
Riverside Rick, line 2.
Riverside Rick, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Justin and Kev?
Good.
Hey, I got a comment about the NFL schedule.
Yep.
You know, as long as the Bengals continue to win their division, that means they're going to play a first-place schedule every year, which means every year they're going to get Kansas City and Buffalo on the schedule for the near future, which is going to allow to make a really good, quarterback trials against Mahomes and against Burrow against Allen against Mahomes, because they're all going to face each other all the time for the next few years as long as they continue to finish in first place in their division.
Yeah, it came out today, like just based off opponents without knowing the order of the opponents, that the Miami Dolphins have the toughest schedule in football based on their opponents and the win percentage. The Bengals have the second toughest schedule, with the Jets having the third. So that's a good point too, is a lot of times you're winning that division, you're going to keep playing a lot of those other division winners, and you're going to be challenged every year. But they've done a good job in recent history. So.
Like Cleveland plays the last place division all the time, so they get an easy schedule.
Hey, we didn't ask that, dude. We didn't ask you about Cleveland. This is Oh man, but
all right. Well, thanks for taking my call, guys.
Anytime, appreciate you.
Sure.
Oh, I could guillotined him. I was doing so good with the timing, but all right. Kidder and Kev here on 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Columbus Equipment in Columbus, Dayton, or Toledo to see their full line of Kubota construction equipment, or check them out online at columbusequipment.com. Make sure that your home's heating and cooling system is being cared for by your local Lennox Premier dealer, William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering special saving opportunities on a new Lennox system, so call them today at 937-222-8638 or visit online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com to learn more. Dealer license number, Ohio license number 14911.
Imagine you're looking at a balancing scale with everything you do for other people on one side and everything you do for yourself on the other side. If it isn't balanced, maybe it's time to spend a little more time on you. And therapy is a great place to start. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist online who can help you find that balance and stick to it. Visit betterhelp.com/score to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/score.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advanced can help your engine get more miles. Right now, buy a 5-quart jug and get a free STP Extended Life Oil Filter. That's right, free. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need, when you need them, at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-4214. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4214. That's 800-575-4214. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Scott for Scots here. A good track can feed the soul. And while this might be music from the heavens, it's not gonna feed your lawn. If your yard needs some life, then you need Scott's Turf Builder. You just put it down once now, then again this summer to thicken your lawn and get it growing strong. Ooh, that's some lush lawn vibes right there.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder today. It's guaranteed or your money back.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Hey Dayton, this is Dan First, 5th generation at First Florist and Greenhouses. Our garden center is now open for this season and full of beautiful garden plants, vegetables, and more. You'll be amazed at the quality and volume of plants in stock. So stop in and visit us at 1306 Troy Street in Dayton. Call us at 937-223-1213 or visit us online at firstflorist.com. That's F-U-R-S-T, florist.com.
Shop First Florist, celebrating 118 years in business at the same location, 1306 Troy Street in Dayton.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Tomorrow.
Ohio's public school educators are at the heart of our schools and our communities. In this Teacher Appreciation Week, join us in saying thank you. Our public school teachers are dedicated professionals who meet every challenge to deliver a great education to every student. Go to ohea.org/thankateacher to show your gratitude.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Create the backyard of your dreams with Menard's huge selection of landscape block and get 11% off. Whether it's a spacious patio, a decorative walkway, or flawless landscaping, you'll find the perfect block for your project. Right now, get 4 12x12 smooth patio blocks for only $5 after 11% rebate. Good through May 14th, savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
The days of the week mean value at the home for fun food, sports, and spirits, Frickers. Monday, boneless freaking chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional freaking chicken wings. Wednesday, sirloin steak special. Thursday, freaking chicken chunks. Frickers offers even more savings by offering double points on everyday values when you download and use the Frickers app. Double points on everyday value purchases. The place that saves you more money every day is the home for fun food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Get to some NBA stuff coming up here in a little bit. A couple series, one series in particular. No, two series could be decided tonight.
Yeah.
The Knicks, Obi Toppin. The Knicks' final game of the season could potentially be tonight, as well could be the defending NBA champions and the Golden State Warriors. We'll get to that coming up here in a second. We opened up, and now we're talking about the fact that we know some of the international NFL schedule has been released, as well as some of the holiday games, of course, and New Year's Eve will feature the Bengals and Chiefs. So that was the first hour. But one more little scheduling tidbit here that I found interesting, Kev. The 32 NFL team travel totals for the 23-24 season. So they always do like the mileage of, and of course, Seattle's always at the top just because of where they're located. And their total mileage is number one in the NFL. They'll be traveling over 31,000 miles.
Okay.
The Cincinnati Bengals come in, they'll travel the least amount of miles of any team. So if the Seahawks are at 31, what number do you think the Bengals come in at as far as total miles traveled on the season? Now they have the least travel time of anybody.
Probably number one, because Cleveland is 4 hours away.
Number one, like, what do you mean?
Like the least amount of miles.
Yeah, they do. I'm sorry. The Bengals travel the least of any team. The Seahawks travel the most of any team. I just meant how many miles? I didn't ask.
Okay.
My bad. How many miles? What's the miles that you think that they travel to be the least traveled team in the NFL?
Probably like 15,000 miles.
It's 11. It's basically 12. It's 11,942.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the schedule. Obviously, Cleveland is like 4 hours north, and then you go to Pittsburgh, which is like 5 hours east. But they don't travel a lot because most of their teams are super close. Especially, I'm assuming that Green Bay is the same way, like, or in the Chicago Bears. All those teams probably relatively the same because you look at the Seahawks. I know, like, they used to be in the AFC, and all those teams used to be more clustered together than they are now. Now they're obviously in the NFC, so they definitely travel way more miles than everybody else.
Yeah, it's funny you said the Bengals, the Packers, and the Bears. I mean, you hit those right on the head because those are the three teams. They're at the bottom. So the Bengals are at 32, the Packers 31, and the Bears at number 30. The Browns come in at 26, and the Steelers come in at 24.
Yeah,
all
those
about
old
15
school,
to 16,000.
all those
between.
North teams, those are real traditional old school NFL teams that really didn't get moved around a ton. I mean, you think about the NFC East. Dallas is not in the East, but they got to travel all the way up to New York. They got to travel up to Philadelphia and vice versa. Those teams have to go down to Dallas. So, yeah.
So no excuses this year, Bengals fans. You're not tired. There's no fatigue. You're fine. Pro Football Focus, who, and I don't know what to make of this. I did find this kind of odd. Pro Football Focus irritates me with stuff like they're data driven, but and we watch these games, and a lot of times the data doesn't always support what we watch. The data has always been from Pro Football Focus that the Browns have one of the best defenses in the league, and I'm like, but I watched the Browns and they don't. Like they fired their defensive coordinator. Like, it drives me nuts. Like, so I'm not a big fan of that. They also drool over the Bengals, and again, they're I mean, the people that run this are out of Cincinnati. Of course, they drool over Cincinnati, but it is what it is. But so Pro Football Focus. I don't know why I said focus. Pro Football Focus.
Wisconsin.
They tweeted out a little bit ago that the most improved teams post NFL draft, per the Pro Football Focus NFL Power Rankings, the most improved teams, the Jets, went from number 17 Power Rankings to number 6. Now they're saying post-draft. Now everyone's making a big deal about the draft because, they're improved after the draft. Yes, the draft has now come and gone. It doesn't say free agency on here, but based on how I've seen their other stuff, this is mean at this point. So we just wrapped up the draft. Here's the most improved teams from that. They've done the post-free agency improvement, but now this is adding on top of that.
Right.
So the Jets, yes, that Aaron Rodgers addition matters. And they had a solid draft. I mean, it wasn't the sexiest, but I mean, they added some dudes. But they were in the power rankings for Pro Football Focus before the draft. They were at 17. After the draft, when you take what they added in the draft, adding Aaron Rodgers with the free agents, of course, now you get to number 6. They're number 6 on the Pro Football Focus power rankings.
Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers was traded like a couple days before the draft. So he's majority of that.
Draft week.
He's majority of that.
So the Denver Broncos jumped from number 28 to number 3. They're one of the most improved teams following the draft. 28 to 23. That's not a massive jump, but they did have a solid draft. Again, a lot of this was, they don't have a lot of draft capital to begin with.
Right.
They're like the Browns. They gave up a lot to get their current quarterback.
Right.
Now the Bears had a big spike. They went from number 26 to 19. Now they did a lot in free agency. They did a solid draft. It was a quiet draft, but they drafted for need. So they didn't do bad. The Cleveland Browns jumped up the most of anyone else, Kev. They jumped up 12 spots.
12 spots, goodness.
They went from number 21 to number 9. And they didn't even have a pick in the first and second round. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite here and say, man, Pro Football Focus said it, so it must be true. Their stuff's weird. It's all analytically based driven. I think analytics tell a story, but at the same time, I think sometimes what they lack is common sense when it just comes to watching some of the, how this goes down. Look, I do believe that Cleveland is drastically head and shoulders better than last year. And they're bringing a lot. I mean, they added a ton of the wide receiving core was horrible. They revamped that. Their pass rush was horrible. They revamped that. Their defense was horrible. They brought in Jim Schwartz, new defensive coordinator. I think all of those things, when you collectively look at what Cleveland did, and they did it in a smart way. They didn't go big name. They didn't go get D-Hop. You know what I mean? They didn't go get the big, Hargrove. They didn't go get the big names. They went in and they patched everything together. They went out and got a bunch of affordable guys, like, going out and getting the quantity more than anything. They got a lot. They were able to add depth to their pass rush, and they may not be done. Their roster's full. They'll have to make some decisions. But I agree that Cleveland, it won't be a popular answer, but I believe they're one of the most improved teams this offseason. It's just they did it quietly. They didn't add major names. They didn't go for the big splash. The Browns have been very splashy over the last how many off seasons,
Right.
going back to when they went out and they got, Odell Beckham Jr. And then, of course, you go out and you add Kareem Hunt. And then you just continue to spend money. They brought Hooper in and spend a ton of money with him. So they've been very flashy. They were not flashy this offseason. They were very quiet. But, man, they made a ton of moves. Jim Schwartz was big. I love what they did with the defensive line. I love what they did with the Tillman might end up being one of the bigger steals of the draft. I saw today your tight end.
Washington, my
Washington.
cousin.
They said that, now you're Mr. Washington, by the way. But that the Steelers may have got the steal of the draft, that he could end up being like a star right off the bat, is what a lot of NFL executives.
Let's hope those
are saying.
knees hold up.
That'll be interesting. But I agree. While everyone's bearing this, and I'm not a big Pro Football Focus guy, so I'm not being a hypocrite just because they propped my team up. But I agree with this. I do believe Cleveland is one of the most improved teams, just because you automatically get a full off season with your quarterback without the distractions of, oh man, am I going to play week 1? Am I not going to play at all this season? Am I going to play in week 12? What's my, 4 games? Okay, cool. I'll be here in week 5. All of that's gone now. So in the healthy receiving room, offensive line, run game, they have it all. They're not the best team in the NFL, but damn it, if they're not a top 10 team, I don't know what is. I think they're legitimately really, really good. I think they can contend for the division. I'm not a big fan of Pro Football Focus, but I do agree with them here, not just because it's my team. I agree that they are a top 10 team in their latest power rankings.
The biggest thing that I take away from it is Pro Football Focus love DeJuan Jones. They love DTR. So I would imagine whoever they would go to, that would make their rankings better. They were big time college guys in their PFF rankings. And the thing about Tillman is he was Tennessee's number 1 receiver until he got hurt. And that opened the door for Jalen Hyatt to win the Biletnikoff and be a 3rd round pick to the New York Giants. But he was their number 1 guy. He was their number 1 receiver until he got hurt. So, could he bounce back to form? Probably. I mean, he's only 21 years old. Normally, when dudes mess up their knee at the young age, they bounce back and run even better and faster and stronger. So these are all legit.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. Doug Toby says fake news. Why is it always like, and this is why I get mad at Browns fans. Browns fans, do you exist out there? You know how much I fight for your honor, and y'all don't back me up on anything? Where are you guys at? And like Bengals fans, y'all embarrassing too, because you just chiming in. This had nothing to do with your team, but it does though. I get it, because you're afraid. I get it. You've had trouble beating bad Browns teams. Now that the Browns are good, I understand the fear that you have. So anyways, that's besides the point, but
it feels like September.
It does. I wish it was September. It's only May. It's only May. Ron Howard says Homer. Go watch your quarterback, Baker Mayfield, baby. Go watch Baker Mayfield. So there's that. But all right, last thing on this that I found interesting earlier today, came across on Twitter. Hunter Dickinson.
Mm-hmm.
He confirmed. So star Michigan player, surprised a ton of people when he entered the transfer portal, and he ends up at Kansas.
Yeah.
And the one thing I don't like, we've kind of made fun of the little scripted responses. Like, I want to thank the coaching staff and my teammates and the university. I love it here. I wouldn't trade my time here for the world, but apparently it was bad enough that I'm going to leave and enter the portal and go find something better. Like, we always laugh at those little scripted little goodbyes and all that stuff. Like, just go. It's okay. Like, just go. We're good. And I don't like fluff. I don't like the coaches speak. And coaches speak, I know these aren't coaches, but coaches speak is they're just pre-planned answers that don't give you anything. I love athletes who just tell it like it is. I love coaches who tell it like it is. I respect that, because you're being lied to any other time. Coach, you're worried about your opponent this week. I'm worried about every opponent, every single week. Oh, stop. We're asking you about this opponent this week. Just come on. You know what we're doing here, blah, blah, blah. So Hunter Dickinson, Kev, says that now Hunter Dickinson confirmed that NIL played a major role in his decision to transfer to Kansas. It wasn't playing time. It wasn't because he didn't like the direction of the program. It was simply money. And he goes, the people hating on me would leave their job right now for a $10,000 increase. I got less than 6 figures at Michigan for the year. I applaud the hell out of this response. He's getting beat up across social media today. Who says this kid doesn't want to win? Who said this kid's not a competitor? The thing that college is now offering is you could have your cake and now eat it too. You can go be just as competitive with Bill Self at Kansas. You can go win just as much, if not probably more, at Kansas. And you get $10,000 more a year. It's a win. I have no problem with it. I respect that he said it, because what I don't want to hear is, I really love Coach Juwan Howard, and I love my teammates at Michigan. But I prayed to God, and God told me to go to Kansas, and like I'm checking out. When you do the God thing, I'm checking out. It's not that I'm anti-God. Relax, people. It's just like, stop. You didn't talk to God. You went there for a reason, and it's money. And I respect that you were honest. It was money. Cool. I like him. I'm a big fan of him. What's the Jayhawk thing? What do they say?
Rock Shop Jayhawk.
I mean, they've been buying players for years now. It's just legal. So there you go. This is good for him. Good for Kansas. I have no problem with it. The people need to back off giving them crap on social media. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, think about it like this. Michigan and Clemson and Ohio State at some point were, trying to do NIL, quote unquote, the right way. You come in here, you get recruited, and once you start balling, we're going to put you in connections and you're going to make money hand over fist. But we're not trying to, quote unquote, pay you before you've actually shown the ability to do anything. That's the right way to do an NIL. That's the way I wish NIL would work. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. But Hunter Dickinson, being a proven player already in college basketball, was looking for a payday. I don't know Hunter Dickinson's story. I don't know his home situation. He could come from money. He could come from the gutter. I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is, other schools wanted his services and they were willing to pay more than his school was willing to pay. Now it leads me to my second point. My second point is, I think we're about to see a major divide in basketball schools and football schools. You know, that the run like Ohio State went on with, Sully and the guys and things of that nature, and we had a dominant football team as well. I think that's going to be the way of the dodo bird. I think you're either going to be a football school or a basketball school, because I don't think boosters are going to be willing to cough over bucks for both programs. They're either going to cough it over for football or they're going to cough it over for basketball. Kansas is a basketball school. Kentucky is a basketball school. Ohio State's a football school. Michigan's a football school. Texas is a football school. Like, it's about to be like, hey, man, if you want to make money playing basketball, you probably should go to the basketball school instead of coming to the football school, because our funds are going to the football program because that's what we care about the most.
Love that you said that, because a while back when people were talking about Chris Holtman's job being, his seat being hot, I don't think the seat's even close to being warm now that I think about it, kind of like what we're talking about here. The athletic director knows better than anybody kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And the bottom line is that if you talk about, we're no longer going to see schools that have healthy football and basketball programs, because the healthiness of the program is going to depend on where the NIL direction's going. And Ohio State's a football school. There's never been a doubt about it. But we've seen that Ohio State, because of how great the university is, they've been able to be peak basketball and football, more peak football, but, they've excelled in basketball more times than not. But I've always said, when you're Ohio State out on the recruiting trail and NIL becomes a topic, we already hear Gene Smith and others shaking the digital can for NIL and all that stuff. So it's like, if there is a limit, or if there's only so much NIL, are you going to waste it on a point guard for the basketball team or at the expense of a dominant pass rusher for the football team? No, it's going to go football every single time, which means I do think behind closed doors, Gene Smith and those that matter know that, which means they're going to hold him to a different standard. They're not losing because he can't coach. Of course, the guy, he wins every year. So I don't want to get too far off of that here. But the bottom line is, that's a good point. We joke all the time, Michigan's a basketball school. It's a football school. But they've also made it be clear, even Harbaugh, as stubborn as he's been in the past, they're not doing the NIL thing the way the SEC is.
Right.
And from what I'm hearing, they're not doing it the way Ohio State is. Because Ohio State's, there's a new collective that was just formed. And it's not like the other collectives.
Right.
I'm going to leave it at that. It's not like the other collectives. It's a little bit more SEC collective, if that makes sense.
Let's do it, boys.
And I have no problem with it, because, by the way, if you want to sit there and, by golly, I'm going to collect my Boy Scout badges and do things the right way and blah, 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 well, enjoy your khaki pants while the real team over here starts to take off. I'm just throwing that out there. You want to be the proud guy. You want to say, oh, you know what? We're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it. That's okay. But it's also now starting to pile over onto the basketball team too. And I think that matters. Look, he said he got less than 6 figures. He got 10,000 more. He wasn't even getting 6 figures where he was currently at Michigan. So is what it is. Good for him. I saw someone say, Keith Tolliver here, Hunter isn't pro material. So he better go get what he can before he goes overseas. I agree with that. I think he might know that. And I think that's why he's like, I better get everything I can. I better maximize my basketball talent money now before I have to go get a real job after. And he might go play pro seas, overseas or whatever, but he might get just as much, if not more, in his year or 2 years in college that remains. So yeah, that's a good point, Keith. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, if he's not a NBA guy, there's plenty of leagues overseas that pay very good money. We know a couple guys that play overseas that made a very nice living for themselves, who retired at a very young age by playing basketball.
Yep.
So we need to stop with this whole thing like, oh, man, there's only one league, the NBA type of rhetoric or thought process. And you're dang on right. Look, man, if you're not going to be a NBA pro making money hand over fist or a first round pick and everything like that, you should. Especially if you handle your business in the classroom and you're able to transfer and everything like that, and your education is still paid for, you might as well go to the highest bidder. And not only is he going to somebody that's going to pay him well, he's going to a storied program like Kansas, who is a basketball school who wants to win basketball championships, not just games. They want to win championship and hoist banners. So
by any means necessary.
Absolutely. They've been doing it for decades and they're going to continue to do it.
So Shaw says Hunter is soft and the whole nation is about to see how overrated he is.
He's not soft. He's not soft.
I think you're being soft, Shaw, because he dumped your team. He didn't dump us. We dumped him. That's what it sounds like, Shaw.
So for people that watch UD Flyers, it's very similar to the DeRon Holmes situation. Point guard play at Michigan was suspect. He's a big man.
So he's a Simpson there anymore.
He's a traditional big man who, hey, man, I need the ball. I'm not going to get it off the rim and bring it up the court like a Giannis. I'm a big man. I'm a rebound the ball, get it to a guard, go post up. Give me the ball. If you're not able to get the ball, you're not going to be able to do your work. Go back to his freshman year. That's that when he had point guard play and guards to get him the ball and spread things out and had shooters around him, he was a dominant player and he was on draft boards. And he obviously came back and those players weren't there. And, oh, man, he's not playing as well. Well, doesn't have the teammates around him.
Shaw. We had a good time, Modex. I was Team Shaw for a bit. When you say something crazy like that, Hunter is soft, and the whole nation is about to see how overrated he is.
The whole nation.
Got time. Interesting. All right. The Chiefs just signed Lamar Jackson. Cornerback.
Plenty of them to go around.
Yep. We'll be right back. Ken and Cab 14. Oh, we got a response.
19-9 is soft. Sign me up for that. Because when he jumped in the portal, I was begging Syracuse to hit him up. But once I found out he wanted some money, I knew they weren't going to cough up no bucks. But 19-9, that's soft.
Shaw says, no, I'm not. He's so overrated. It is not even funny.
19-9.
Shaw, you shouldn't have said that. You know why? You shouldn't have said that it's not even funny. Of course it's funny.
19-9.
He hasn't developed a right hand.
It's college.
Middle school basketball teams. You need a coach? I got your guy right here. He's going to coach your players how to dribble with the right hand. Everyone dribbles with the right hand. But anyways, he goes, and he hasn't gotten any better since his freshman year. He's soft.
14 points a game as a freshman, 18.5 as a sophomore, 18.5 again as a junior.
Not bad.
I'll definitely take 18 points and 9 rebounds a game any day of the week.
He didn't dump us. We dumped him. The David Shaw story. Kinner and Cap, 14-10. Wing game. We'll be right back. I didn't know he was as soft about basketball as he was a football team. I mean, my goodness.
He doesn't watch.
I mean, my goodness. You would think that
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Get 11% off everything at Menards. For over 60 years, Menards has been the one-stop shop for post-frame buildings. Whether it's protecting equipment, livestock, or you just need a place to keep your toys, Menards has a post-frame building for you. Now, you can design and buy the post-frame building of your dreams and get free estimates fast. There's no limit to what you can save with 11% off everything now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Boot Barn honors a Western legacy built by those who persevere through resourceful determination. Ariat honors that same legacy by bringing innovative technology to classic pieces. Driven by a dedication to the craft, Ariat blends timeless Western artistry with advanced performance features for the modern cowboy and rodeo athlete. Out west, ingenuity is second to none. Ariat at Boot Barn.
$5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right. My friends at Cordell Transportation are now hiring experienced Class A CDL drivers with excellent work history. If that's you, apply now. Cordell Transportation offers home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight, and brand new equipment, plus a $5,000 sign-on bonus paid over 18 months, paid orientation, and company 401k with company match. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Spring into spring hiring with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station. 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So yesterday I came across this article, Kev. Yesterday I came across this article from Brett McMurphy from Action Sports, actionnetwork.com. That the Big Ten is strongly considering removing its requirement for league teams to play a Power 5 non-conference team starting in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Big Ten teams also would be allowed to continue scheduling football championship subdivision opponents, sources said, so FCS opponents. In 2024, the Big Ten grows to obviously a 16-team league with USC and UCLA being added. Although the league scheduling format has not been officially determined, the Big Ten is expected to continue with the 9-game league schedule unless something crazy happens, the source said. If the change is made, Big Ten teams could still schedule games against Power 5 non-conference opponents, but it would no longer be required. So this is what the SEC's policy is. They
Right.
don't have to do this.
Right.
And I have always said, well, we sit here and point the finger at them for not making it as hard on them as what the Big Ten makes on themselves. I'm not going to side with the Big Ten on that. I've always used this analogy. If you go to college, if you're in high school and the professor comes out or your teacher comes out and says, hey, it's an open note test. If you want to use your notes for the exam, use your notes. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. And then all the individuals that used the notes on their test scored better than all of those who didn't. You can't get mad and say, well, I didn't use my notes. They used their notes. I feel pretty good about myself because I got a pretty damn good grade and I didn't use that. I challenged myself, unlike those losers over there. That's what Big Ten fans do. That's what we as Buckeye fans do. Oh, man, SEC, look at who they play. They play nobody. William and Mary. I mean, my gosh. Alabama, they play nobody. And the thing that's interesting to me about all of this is that the Big Ten's I've always look at the conference that is the best in football. And that's not, 4 straight national championships. They've had the most players drafted in the NFL for like 17 straight years now. Like, we're past the point of opinion on this. Like, I think that, come on, look at what they're doing. And instead of saying what they do wrong, all while they're hoisting up trophies and sending the most players to the NFL, maybe we as Buckeye fans and Big Ten fans should start saying, maybe we should do it like them. I have no problem with the Big Ten going this route if that's the case. I'm not sure where you're at with it, but I am curious your thoughts on it because I know it's not sexy. We want to see Ohio State versus Texas. We want to see Ohio State at Notre Dame. We want to see all of this. But the SEC has always gotten this right. I'm not going to lose a game in the non-conference. It's going to keep me out of the playoffs, all while I still have to play Georgia, LSU, Florida, Auburn. I don't want to, if I get knocked out of the playoffs, it's going to be because my tough division keeps me out. My tough conference keeps me out. I am not going to miss the playoffs because, I wanted to appease some moral individuals about challenging yourself in the non-conference. I have no problem with it. And I think we're starting to see that have an impact, Kev, because it didn't take long. Ohio State's made a couple additions to future schedules already. The program just announced 1 schedule alteration and 3 new schedule agreements on Wednesday, including a date change for the Western Michigan matchup. Ooh, we're out of a big one there. But they are adding Marshall and Charlotte to their non-conference matchups. I have no problem with it. Keep on going. Do what you got to do. The bottom line is Ohio State's not a bad team if they play Marshall in the non-con over playing Notre Dame. Take care of your, especially when you got to play USC and UCLA and Michigan and Wisconsin and Penn State and all this. We find out who the Buckeyes are in those matchups, not when they play non-con games. I've liked the non-cons, like as far as like the sexier matchups, they mean more, but they're not worth it if you miss the playoffs or put yourself in a position where you miss it because you lost that game. I'm fine with this. Do what the SEC does. Most players in the NFL and for 17 straight years in the draft, 4 straight national championships, multiple dynasties from multiple teams. Follow what that conference is doing. I have no problem with the SEC. I've always had a problem with the Big Ten doing this holier. Well, you know what? We do it the right way. Well, your way's not the right way when you're not the one with the national champion 4 straight years and putting teams or players from all teams in the draft. Kev, what say you about this potential scheduling change for the Big Ten?
Quick story. I had an exam in college.
Here we go.
Yeah, I had an exam in college one year. And people may not notice about me. I'm very smart.
I am not.
I'm very smart. I graduated high school with a 3.5. And then went to college, and we don't want to talk about my GPA the first 3 years of college, but the last 3 years, oh boy, I had a 4.0. I was balling on them. Anyway, I was in one of my classes or whatever, and in the middle of the exam, our professor says, take out your notes and use them if you got them. Everybody stood there and wait, what? So slowly but surely, people started taking out their notes. And then I took mine out. Come to find out, I didn't even need my notes. I got 100% without even using my notes. Nerd alert. But anyway, I love those tests. And he said he did that because he noticed that so many people only showed up for the exams. And he noticed that certain people were there every single day. So, hey, obviously you took notes. You were in the class. Why not give you the advantage? Didn't need them. Still got 100%. Shouts out to me. Anyway, back to the Big Ten. I hate this. I despise this because not only am I an Ohio State football fan to my core, but I am a college football fan overall. I think when you do these type of things, you miss out on matchups. And the only way you're going to see these big time schools playing against each other is the college football playoff. I long for the days of teams playing each other's teams in their stadium. We talk about how Alabama, quote unquote, only plays non-conference matchups at, Jerry World or in Atlanta. That's why it was such a big deal that they traveled to Texas last year and everything like that. I love the fact that you get to see, Penn State travel down to Auburn and things of that nature, or you'd only see these games in the bowl season. Me as a fan, I don't like it. And you know who I wouldn't like it for if I had enough money? If I was a season ticket holder. I would hate this if I was a season ticket holder. I mean, you mean to tell me I went from having, I don't know, Oregon on the schedule, Auburn, Georgia on this on home schedule for MAC opponents and things of that nature. Guess what? The ticket prices aren't going to go down. They're only going to go up. And we're not going to get that return on the investment of seeing some high-power teams. Look, man, I watch a ton of Ohio State football games. Most of them are over by halftime. And this is going to be even more games over by halftime. Me, as a football fan, I despise it. And then be perfectly honest, as an Ohio State football fan, I don't like it either. That's just me as a fan. Business-wise, I guess I get it. I guess I understand. And also, nobody's forcing them not to schedule these teams. If you want to schedule one, you can. And best believe, if you schedule the right one, you're going to make a crap ton of money. I just want to continue to see great matchups because I just love watching great football.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. Like, I'm defending the business side of it. It's smart. Ultimately, strip away fan passion from it. Why would you risk losing a game, a tough game, when you know your conference is going to load you up anyways? When you're Ohio State and you have to play Penn State and Wisconsin and Michigan and now USC and UCLA, maybe I'm giving them a little too much credit, but you see my point. Like, and then you have the SEC.
You give a couple teams too much credit.
But no, like the games that we schedule on that we circle on their schedule, we worry about the Penn States. They worry about
us.
USC.
They worry about us. We don't worry about them.
But those are the primetime games for a reason, because those are supposed to be the teams that challenge Ohio State more than anyone else. But the point is that let them be your resume booster. You don't need to say, man, if we don't put anyone in the non-con, like there's certain programs like Ohio State, I don't need to see them play somebody to know there's somebody.
This is going to be like how the Big East, and shouts out to my school that I followed that used to be in the Big East, Syracuse. That's going to be like their basketball schedule in the early 2000s. They're going to hold on to the fact that, well, we got to play UConn. We got to play so-and-so. We got to play West Virginia. We got to play this. We got to play them. They only play conference games, and it's going to be nothing outside of the conference. And I just don't like that. I don't like that as a fan. I don't like that as a TV viewer. And you talk about, the big noon kickoff. All these games is going to be at noon.
Yep.
All these games is going to be at noon because nobody's going to want to be like, oh, man, yeah, let's put that on at night. Let's put that under the lights at the shoe. And then somebody's going to have to come up to a radio station and turn it off after watching a blowout game. Nobody wants to do that. Like, I guess you're right from the business perspective, but I'm not even sure if that's the right way from the business perspective. Isn't giving more entertainment the right move for a business aspect?
Not when you're Ohio State and 100,000+ people fill up the shoe to watch Akron or Notre Dame.
Or zombies. We just show up to the shoe. You're right.
Let me ask you, like, in all seriousness, is Ohio State, they're probably making more money, but when they fill up the shoe for Notre Dame or fill up the shoe for Central Arkansas, the tickets are higher for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
From that's a business perspective. But like with the money they rake in, ticket sales aren't like what they're ultimately going for. The only thing is Notre Dame tickets are through the roof to where
in the secondary market.
I don't know about you. I know we're rich as can be here.
Yeah.
All right. We turn down raises left and right, but like we can't afford to go to Buckeye games.
Right.
Unless we like, it's one of those like, are we going to plan it out in advance and spend good money to actually enjoy ourselves, blah, blah. Like, that's what I mean. Like, and that's to go watch Florida Atlantic or to go watch just a bad team. So I can't afford to go watch some of those teams, much less Notre Dame and all that stuff. So there's that point right there. And I guess I'm saying all of this because fans are going to get upset at this, but Ohio State only puts one good team on the non-con schedule a year anyways.
Right.
We're getting mad over one game a year. Why does it matter? Like, let me pull this up. So future Ohio State football schedules. So Ohio State in the future. So we talk about the fact that they're willing to add like Notre Dame and Texas. Okay, let's take Notre Dame out of it. Western Kentucky and Youngstown State this year.
Go Penguins.
Is that Ohio State challenging themselves? Is one game with Notre Dame, does that justify this tough non-con that they have? I mean, I love that matchup, and kudos to them because they go on the road. I've always said I've never bashed Ohio State's scheduling. I'm not even bashing the Western Kentucky and Youngstown State. All I'm saying is to act as if Ohio State's always challenged themselves in the non-con. They do one weekend a year. One weekend a year.
And that's my point. You can't just do one. You can't just do one.
And fair too, if you want to look at it that way.
You can't give me one. You can't give me one great matchup that I'm going to be actually biting my nails for. Like, we can talk about Penn State. We can talk about Michigan giving Ohio State a run for their money and Michigan beating Ohio State. But 9 times out of 10, Ohio State is not only beating other opponents in the Big Ten, they're demolishing those opponents. So for me, you can't give me one to be excited about. You can't get just one. And I truly believe that Ohio State and most teams from the Big Ten will continue to give you that one. I think they will. I think they will because they know, like, these stadiums are huge, 100,000 plus people in there. Yeah, we might go up there, and if it's a blowout in the first half, especially like a September game, the humidity is on 1,000,000. Guess what people are doing? They're watching the first half if they make it that far, and then they're going to the varsity club. They're going to get some brews. But if it's a good game, you're not leaving. You're going to be in that sweat box. You're going to keep going to the concession stand, buying those $5 waters left and right. So for me as a fan, for goodness sakes, or even this, go to Alabama route. If you got to do it at a neutral site, but please keep these matchups, man.
So here's the other thing. And I agree with you about the matchups, but like after Notre Dame, like there's a lot of bad games in the Big Ten as well. It's not as if like, once you get to the Big Ten schedule, it's just left hook, right hook, left hook, right.
This is not the NFL.
So, but with that being said, if you don't play Oregon 2 years ago, you make the playoffs even with losing to Ohio State or to Michigan. They barely beat Notre Dame. Like they held on to beat Notre Dame in an ugly game. It was a hideous game. But if they lose to Notre Dame, they're not in the playoffs again. When you could have replaced that with the Miami of Ohio instead of Notre Dame. Miami of Ohio instead of, obviously, Oregon. What that does is it gives you that buffer. It gives you that you have now a margin of error. You can mess up. You can lose to Michigan. You don't want to. You can lose to Michigan and make the playoffs like this past year. They didn't make the playoffs because they beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame actually didn't tilt their strength of schedule at all because how bad now Notre Dame got better. But my point is ultimately you thrash Miami of Ohio that week. You lose to Michigan. It stinks. Ryan Day's seat is hot. And then they go on to the playoffs and boom, everything's fine. You lose to Notre Dame in a game you didn't have to put on that schedule. Now you miss the playoffs. You don't miss, they didn't miss the playoffs 2 years ago because they lost to Michigan. They lost the playoffs 2 years ago because they lost to Oregon. And I guess that's where I think you have coaches like Nick Saban and Ryan Day and others where we're going to get to Big Ten play. There's going to be a game that catches us. You add that to the loss from earlier in the year in the non-con, that's what buries you. And
I feel what you're saying.
Like, now, does the 12-team playoff change that? Does that give you a little bit more?
You give them so these Power 5 teams are getting even more wiggle room. And not only Power 5 teams, upper echelon teams are getting more wiggle room for error. And then I liken this to how boxing is versus UFC fighting. UFC fighting gives you the matchups that you want to see. They don't say, hey, man, I'm going to keep beating around the bush before I fight this opponent. Hey, the UFC makes the fights happen and people go in droves. In boxing, you have to wait 8-9 years before you get a fight. Like, how long did it take Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather to get in the ring? It took that fight 6 years to happen. 6 years. So this is what's going to happen now. You're not going to wait 6 years for that matchup. You're going to have to basically earn it to the college football playoff. And then On top of that, there's no guarantee that those teams will even play in the college football playoff because it has been expanded. You could get an upset in the college football playoff and like, oh man, we're expecting to see Bama and Ohio State, or we're expecting to see Bama and Clemson or whomever in the semifinals or in the national championship game. And then we get TCU and Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm with it, man. I want to continue to see good matchups. And I love to see them early in the season, kind of like how we're talking with the Bengals and the Chiefs. Like, you don't want to see that at the back half of the schedule. You want to see them early in the season before we really, quote unquote, find out who the teams are. Like the excitement going into these seasons, like last year, we were super excited for multiple reasons about the Notre Dame, with Marcus Freeman being their head coach, former Buckeye player. It's Notre Dame. They're right across the street from us. They don't ever really play. We want Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. They want to stay independent. All these talking points early in the season. And now all that type of stuff goes away. Are we going to be all hype and jumping through the roof because Ohio State is playing Youngstown State, and then they got it followed up with a great matchup from Marshall, and then another matchup from I don't know who university? Like, I just think that type of stuff is just going to damper the product.
But when fans are filling up the shoe, no matter who the opponent is, it doesn't matter. I said this about UD. UD fans complain about, oh, they're not bringing anyone in. Then stop filling the damn arena to watch nobody. It's like it. And so I read an article about why Alabama all of a sudden started playing non-neutral site games. Remember 2-3 years ago, might have been more than that, because I think it was before the pandemic, Nick Saban was furious at the students who were leaving at the end of the first quarter and halftime. It wasn't just students, it was fans in general.
It's hot as blazes outside.
And the games are done by the first quarter. You're not giving them a reason to stay. And that was a trend. Like, attendance was dropping for Alabama football.
Right.
They stopped showing up.
Right.
You have a dynasty in college football. Your fans stop showing up because there's nothing to watch at home when they play. It's not a coincidence that they started adding Ohio State home and home. They're in the middle of this Texas home and home.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the fans forced that.
Yeah.
Buckeye fans, we're there. OHIO for Florida Atlantic. We don't care. And I feel like until Ohio State, but kudos to them though, because Ohio State's not the problem, technically. They're not the problem. I'm arguing about something that doesn't even happen with them, but they very well could not challenge themselves in the non-con because, well, we're all weird and we'll show up no matter who they play.
Right.
They played Akron under the lights, not a seat available 2 years ago or whoever it was. So it's one of those things where I would say that about UD. Don't complain about the schedule when you continue to put 13,000 fans over there. Neil Sullivan has zero pressure to put better opponents on that schedule because they can just pay these teams to come in, get Anthony Grant his 20-plus wins, not lose anything in the non-con at home. And that's why they go play those neutral site little tournaments or whatever, because, again, it's neutral site. You have a better chance at catching a Wisconsin.
Battle of Atlantis.
Yeah, so it's business. Neil Sullivan, it's business. It's not about – so when you said about putting the product out for the fans, no offense, Neil Sullivan don't care about the fans. He don't care about entertaining UD fans. Because UD fans are going to put money in his pocket no matter what lousy teams he puts on that schedule. Now, to be fair to Neil, Mr. Sullivan, he does get decent teams to come in. Not every season, not every game, but we've seen Auburn. We saw Bruce Pearl walking up and down the side. He had a zipper down too, by the way. Remember, we're sitting at court.
Eagle eye over here.
And no, I didn't know that. The student section did. The student section they were letting him have it. And no, I'm sorry. That was not what happened. His zipper was down the whole first half. I was sitting in front of UD's student section that game, and I remember they were just letting him have it the whole time. I mean, call him a cheater, call him everything you could imagine. He looked down, realized his zipper was down, and he went up to the student section. He goes, y'all made fun of everything you could about me. You couldn't let me know that my zipper was down, and then walked into the locker room or whatever. It's funny to joke when you're up double digits walking into the locker room. But, nonetheless. All right.
You're right, though. You're right about, us packing the shoe, because let's be real, man. The home viewing experience is way better. It just is. No, and it's not just the shoe. It's not just, Paycor Stadium. It's not the wherever stadium. Watching it at home is better. Watching it at home with a bunch of friends, you spark up the grill, you spark up other things, you crack a couple brews, you have a bathroom to go to in private. The home viewing experience is way better. So that's why I still think it's vital to bring in opponents that make people want to say, you know what, I'm going to drop this $300 and go to this game because this is going to be awesome. It's going to be something that I can't get at home.
Kenner and Cav, 1410 Wing AM. We'll be right back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The forecast, mostly clear skies, 51 tonight, sunny and 83 tomorrow. Rain on Friday, high of 77. Rick Schreck for 1410 ESPN Radio.
What up, world? This is your boy Kevin Hart, a.k.a. the comedic rock star. And guess what? I'm coming to a city near you with my new tour, Reality Check. And we are adding shows, doing it big. Brand new hour material, big laughs, big energy. Make sure you're in the building. Don't miss your chance to get your tickets.
Don't miss Kevin Hart's Reality Check Tour at Nutter Center on May 16th. Get tickets now.
Go to KevinHartNation.com now.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-4214. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4214. That's 800-575-4214. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Scott for Scott's here. You ever want to grow new grass faster? Kind of like when you press the 2x playback button on your podcast so you can speed through episodes. Except at Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass, you're speeding your way from a thin and damaged lawn to a thicker, stronger one in just weeks. Bit too fast, maybe slow it down, okay. Let's just go back to normal speed.
Get a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Rapid Grass today. It grows grass 2 times faster than seed alone when applied at the new lawn rate, subject to proper care.
Feed your lawn. Feed it.
Make sure that your home's heating and cooling system is being cared for by your local Lennox Premier dealer, William Brockman & Sons Heating and Air Conditioning. They're offering special saving opportunities on a new Lennox system. So call them today at 937-222-8638 or visit online at DaytonHeatingandCooling.com to learn more. Dealer license number, Ohio license number 14911.
With over 15 years of experience as your local lawn health provider, Lawn Plus knows what it takes to provide a thick, healthy lawn. We offer fertilization and weed control programs, aeration and seeding, as the best defense against weeds is a thick turf. If your current lawn care company is providing 6 to 8 applications, that is far too many. We offer the highest quality products and service to get the best results in just 4 applications a year. Call us today at 937-839-LAWN, and remember, if you give a weed an inch, it'll take a yard.
Get 11% off everything you need for your yard at Menards. Clean your patio, walkways, outdoor furniture, and more with the Snapper 3000 PSI pressure washer. It features a 25-foot high-pressure hose and is powered by a reliable Briggs & Stratton engine. Pick one up today for $294.99 after 11% rebate at Menards. Good through May 14th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. Excellent pay, benefits, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today. Online at CordellTransportation.com. Driven to succeed.
The days of the week mean value at the home for fun food, sports, and spirits, Frickers. Monday, boneless freaking chicken wings. Tuesday, traditional freaking chicken wings. Wednesday, sirloin steak special. Thursday, frickin' chicken chunks. Frickers offers even more savings by offering double points on everyday values when you download and use the Frickers app. Double points on everyday value purchases. The place that saves you more money every day is the home for fun food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Happy Mother's Day from the Flower Man. This year for Mom, we have beautiful, cutable arrangements at $12.99 and a dozen roses for only $12.99. Inconceivable. Thank you, Flower Man, and thank you, Mom. Roses, arrangements, and flowers from all over the world for Mom. Go to flowermanflowers.com. That's flowermanflowers.com.
Hi, Greg McAfee here with McAfee Heating and Air. Dayton was founded on blue-collar work.
Many Daytonians worked at companies like NCR, McCall's Publishing, Delco, and the Huffy Corporation. Blue-collar work set Dayton apart in innovation and forward thinking. And today, we have a company like McAfee Heating and Air. Our apprenticeship program is a perfect opportunity to get paid while you learn. Go to mcair.com and apply today.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Grab a Wendy's Biggie Bag today with your choice of JBC, double stack or crispy chicken sandwich, plus 4-piece nugs, junior fries, and a small soft drink. Biggie hits every time. U.S. price and participation may vary.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. NBA playoff action tonight. The Lakers have a chance to close out the Golden State Warriors and advance to the Western Conference Finals. Would not have believed we'd be saying that 2 months ago, but that's kind of what's kind of almost going to potentially happen. Lakers win this series, maybe not tonight, but do you think the Lakers win this series?
Lakers close it out in 6. They lose tonight. Warriors get it done tonight. Think Steph and Clay go berserk from three-point land. They ultimately win the game, but then they go back to LA, and then AD and LeBron close them out.
You know what's funny about these NBA playoffs, and I thought about this earlier today, just kind of listening to a lot of the talk and stuff about these series. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Like, we thought centers were a thing of the past. Like, the early 2000s when I really loved the NBA, like as far as like your Shaqs, and some of these are power forwards too, like your Shaqs and your Duncans, and like, you know, the game was played inside, and centers don't exist anymore today. Well, the centers exist. They just play the game differently, but it is interesting when you look at the teams that are left. We're talking not just teams with centers, but like LeBron, the Lakers have LeBron, but the Lakers aren't here without AD.
Right.
AD has been healthy, knock on wood. And we're talking about Anthony Davis and the Lakers. We're talking about Joel Embiid, the 2023 NBA MVP, and the Sixers. We're talking about Nikola Jokic, who we thought was potentially about to win his 3rd straight MVP, and the Denver Nuggets. Like, and so I guess you could look at the Knicks and they have Randall and all this stuff and all that, and the Miami Heat, who we don't know really what the hell's going on there and how they're doing it. We know how they're doing it. It just doesn't make sense. But the point is like, this is almost, I watch the Lakers games and I'm like enamored by it because it's old school. Like, in the same thing with Philly, they're fun to watch. You got your star guard with Harden. And I'm not comparing them to Shaq Kobe, but it has that element to it where it's a star guard with a dominant post player. LeBron's not a star guard, but he's a point guard. He's a forward. He's everything you need him to be with AD. The pick and rolls there. Obviously, you have Jokic, who can shoot the three, who could dribble, he could do it all. It's kind of fun. I know the Milwaukee's not anymore, but you have, Giannis Antetokounmpo, multiple time MVP, NBA champion. I don't think we give the centers of today's game enough credit. Now, a lot of it has to do with 2 of those 4 I just mentioned are always injured. Finally, AD and Joel Embiid are playing, and they're playing at a high level, and they're winning. One's winning an MVP, and the other's leading their team to the Western Conference Finals. And it's like, holy crap! Like the centers are kind of being reestablished a bit, more modernized. But I don't think the centers get enough credit in today's NBA, and I blame AD and Joel Embiid for that because the stories with them is, all right, how long are they out? How long are they out? Can't count on them. But they're showing that when those two are on their game and they're out there, the league's pretty good center-wise. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the Lakers are where they're at, the Sixers are where they're at, the Nuggets are where they're at. It all has to do with those dominant centers. You need pieces around them, of course, but the three best centers in the game are all about to advance to the semifinals right now. So I think that's pretty interesting, but I don't think the centers get enough credit in today's game right now.
It's still a big man's league outside of the Golden State run, which is going on 9 years that they've been like this upper echelon team. Big men have dominated the NBA, so them making this resurgence, is right. It's the fact that Joel Embiid is toughing it through this knee injury. You got AD not hurt. And then now you have Joker not only playing at an MVP level, but now his teammates around him are coming along for the ride, and them being up 3-2 over the Suns, hopefully punching their ticket to the Western Conference Final with a win tomorrow. Like, this would be kind of a throwback situation where, like, all right, man, yeah, the wing players, you guys are exciting, the three balls exciting and everything like that, but the big man out there doing work, they still do their job too.
And what I mean by that too is, like, it's always been a big man's league. You're right, it has, and there's always been centers, but I mean, even if you go back, I mean, when you had the Heatles, when LeBron joined the Heat, you had Zydrunas Ilgauskas, you had Eric Dampier, you had bigs, but they weren't the stars.
Right.
Every team has the centers, and they weren't. Their job was, I mean, you had the Mavericks who won that year had Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler was a more modern center as far as
rim runners, shot blockers. They're not dependent on the score, but these guys are dependent on to be the offense. I get you.
So, like, and that's what's been interesting. I mean, Jared Allen is that. Like, that's why you were like, no, don't move him. I don't think a lot of Cavs fans want him moved, but I think if he's the piece to go get you something legitimate, I think you do it. That's like a debate for later. But I look at him and I'm like, okay, look at the teams that are Brook Lopez is another example. Never the best player on the team, but you win with him.
Yeah.
But you're not winning because of him. These teams are winning because of AD. They're winning because of Embiid. They're winning because of Giannis. They're winning because of Jokic. That's what I think is cool, is the center is starting to become a starred position again, where I thought it was fading out. And I didn't like that because I'm like, I love that old school type, but it's old school mixed with, I mean, Joel Embiid is Shaq, but he can also cross you up, fadeaway threes. He could do, it's weird. Like, it's a modern dominant center. So that's just the playoffs have opened my eyes to that. I mean, you look at the Celtics, who's their center?
That's
my point exactly.
Williams.
So, no, I'm just joking.
But you're right. Like, he's a quote unquote today's center. He's not a guy that you give it to on the block or even at the elbow. And the thing about AD was, for so much time, he was fighting the center thing. He wanted to be, a power forward, small forward. But now, hey, man, we're trying to win this thing.
Like this, yeah.
You better get on that block. You're going to give it to you on the block. You're going to do a fadeaway, or you're going to spin around him and dunk it. That's what you're going to do. And that's what the playoffs is truly about, man. The pace of play is slowed down. That's why you see the Golden State Warriors trying to speed things up so much, because once they get into that half-court set, AD is such a great defensive player on those switches. You really can't do anything. Like, he can switch onto your guard and get back to his man and block shots and give rebounds all over the place. So that's why they're pushing the ball like crazy. And that's why their turnover rate is through the roof, because they're playing even faster than they want to play.
Yeah, when we talk about the big threes anymore, I mean, going back to the Heat real quick. So I talked about the Dampiers and them, but Chris Bosh was your star big, but he wasn't your traditional big. But I think and again, you saw the Warriors, and the Warriors have always had, he kind of hopped around from team to team. He's a big center, and I can't think. Well, Bogut's one, but then after Bogut, then he went to the Lakers and won one.
JaVale McGee.
JaVale McGee. Thank you. That's exactly. I honestly was typing it in, trying to figure out who the heck I was trying to. JaVale McGee was he's the poster child of what I'm talking about here, where very athletic center that can run the floor, contest some shots defensively, can score you some points, but you're not drawing up plays for him.
Right.
Now we're seeing that different. So it's like I don't know where those guys are coming from now. Watching today's college basketball, I don't know.
They ain't come from college; they come from overseas,
and that's why there's Jokic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Joel Embiid obviously played in college, and all that.
He's from the Congo.
But you're watching. Well, yeah,
he ain't from here.
But college, college, but
had a cup of coffee.
He came and played school for 1 year, and then off.
Man, I have to Google that. I'm not even sure how many games he even played at Kansas.
He's probably. I mean, He's definitely not soft like that dude. What's his name?
Dickerson.
Yeah. Shaw, are you still there? Oh man, he's so soft. Oh my gosh. But no. Anyways, my point is just with where we're at.
28 games.
28
Embiid played 28 games at Kansas.
Is that more than Durant played at Texas?
No. KD played like 35.
Okay. I just did they make I'm thinking of who's that
Ben
point guard
Simmons?
from LSU? Yeah,
Oh.
I'm thinking of him. Yeah. That was a train wreck, obviously. But no, anyways, I'm just saying this because I think we got used to, we talk about the Golden State Warriors, everyone's gonna be them, spread it out, run the floor, all that. And that's still there. But I think what I like about the NBA that's happening right now is you're seeing I hated the NBA for a bit because I kept saying it was becoming baseball. One way to play, one way to win, have to shoot threes, no bigs, blah, blah, blah. That's why, and people would laugh at some of these reporters that would ask Shaq, could you play in today's game? Now, to be fair to them, I know what they're asking. They're asking that because we are being conditioned to think that we don't need that center. We're not going to throw it into the post. My gosh, no. 1 pass, 2 pass, shoot, go. 1 pass, 2 pass, shoot, go. I'm not defending those questions. I'm saying I understand where they're coming from. Of course, he would dominate today. But what we're seeing is now instead of teams saying we have to do it this way, it's okay, here's who we have, and let's coach to what we have. That's what I love about Jokic and the Nuggets. That's what I love about what Doc Rivers is doing in Philadelphia, who he makes it easy to pile on him because I was starting to get on that overrated thing with Doc. Now I'm kind of like, no, he has them kind of believing again. He has them locked in right now. So it's coaching what you have. That's why Spoelstra, who I've always been down on, because what the hell have you done without LeBron? We've got to the finals. You might get back to another one potentially. So
they ain't gonna make it to the finals.
They'll
make it to the Eastern Conference.
It's a miracle in itself, though, to get to the Eastern Conference. But kudos to the coaches, because I thought coaching, when we've done topics in the past, which pro sport does coaching mean the least in? I was like, the NBA. The stars run everything over there. And it's like, but kudos to the play. It's a young league that are responding to coaching. Coaching is adapting to what they have on their roster instead of saying, well, we got to run through. This is my other problem I have with Bickerstaff and the Cavs. They got rid of, they fell in that trap. Kevin Love, he's old. He can't play defense. He's slow. He's older.
Yeah.
He's not the fastest, but you needed him. But
Definitely
you moved on from him because they fell for the trap of, we got to run. We got to run. Yep. That's my only complaints about what the Cavs did. I didn't mind them moving on from them, and it's easy now to get mad that they did. But now that I'm seeing what's left, I'm not saying Kevin Love has them in the playoffs still, but I don't think they get punished and beat up like they did against the Knicks if they did.
I agree, and I didn't like the getting rid of Kevin Love for multiple reasons. Obviously, one, you got rid of a champion who, once the playoffs started, everybody's like, well, man, we don't have anybody that's been here before.
Yep.
Like, well, you had somebody. You had somebody that went to the finals and helped you win a championship. You had him on the roster, and you just let him go. And then you let him go. You bought out his contract, so you got nothing for him. So, that's how I like, look, man, you got nothing for him. And, yes, he would have been another shooter on the floor to be able to spread the floor. You only got 2 shooters on the team anyway. So you add a third shooter, and another body to throw in the mix. And obviously what we're seeing him do in this playoffs, he's always been a great rebounder. So I guess it is what it is.
Yep. And last point on this, I know when you're watching Joel Embiid, who's a massive human being, you're watching Jokic, who's a massive human being. Anthony Davis he's a very tall, and he's filled out. So he's a massive human being as well, not as much of a bruiser like Embiid. But this is why when so many UD fans are confident that the NBA is not going to take Deron Holmes in that first round. Deron Holmes will not be Joel Embiid or Giannis or any of these dudes. He will not be those guys right off the bat. But Kev, look at Giannis. He was a string bean when he got drafted. I think Deron Holmes, the reason he's getting so much love is because he's like a legitimate center that could play. He could stretch out and all that stuff. Obviously, they want him to add that shot to his game, but he's kind of that old school type of a center, a very athletic center who can get up and down a little bit, but he could play inside. He proved it last year. That's why I think he's piqued the interest of a lot of NBA scouts and executives out there.
I saw the comparison to him to Nick Claxton, the Nets center who got into that scuffle with Embiid, super athletic, run the floor. But the difference between him and Nick Claxton, Holmes can shoot the ball a little bit. Nick Claxton can't shoot to save his life. He can't hit free throws, can't hit layups, can only dunk. That's the only thing he can do is dunk. Deron Holmes can do a lot more than that with the ball.
I think the Lakers win tonight.
Oh,
I think the Lakers win tonight. I think because I was listening to some shows earlier today. Everyone's picking the Warriors to win because their back's against the wall. They're at home.
The heart of a
And
champion.
that the Lakers are up 3-1. They have a little bit of a buffer here. But what you don't want to do is you're up 3-1 because Poole isn't playing well. You really want to risk him getting hot and all that stuff moving forward. I know what you're saying, but the bottom line is the other thing, too. We talked about AD and the health and the age and all that stuff. End it tonight and go home and give yourself a week off and heal up. That's much needed for this Lakers team. I think you give them this game. I'm not guaranteeing that the Lakers win at home the very next time, the very next game. I think they go balls to the wall tonight. I think they play every minute possible. But so shows today thought that they would kind of maybe.
Yeah, I heard that from Greeny. I was like,
limit the
what?
minutes. I understood what he's saying because they're getting older and all that. But AD, it's never been about the age. It's just been about the health, and the health doesn't always come from the age or playing too much. By the way, the more he's played, the better he's looked. And if he gets hurt tonight, because we're talking about this, I swear to goodness.
I think we see a very, very, very aggressive LeBron James tonight because I think you're right. He knows, like, look, man.
He knows more than anyway, yeah.
Yeah, let's get rid of these dudes, and so I can go rest my feet, and then we get ready for the next round. That doesn't necessarily mean his teammates are going to come along with him, but I think he sets the tone. And, he's been very, passive in the first halves of these games and picking his spots where he's going to turn it on. I think from the jump, you see LeBron James turn it on and go full attack mode. And, the difference between LeBron James and other guys when they go attack mode doesn't necessarily mean he's attacking the score, but he's attacking every way. Hey, if it's attacking the lane to get a layup or a dunk or kick it out for 3, he's going to do that. So I think we see a aggressive LeBron James tonight, but I still think the Warriors win.
Yeah, I love when people are maneuvering the talking points of LeBron. Like, man, averaging 22 a game, he's really struggling this year. No, he's not. In fact, when he's scoring less, like that's the thing. That's a good thing, by the way. When he's scoring less, it's not because he's lost the ability to score. He averaged 30 points a game to start the season. We know he can still score right now. When they've lost every game in the playoffs, he scored close to 30 points or more every single time. Every time that they've won, he's averaging 23.5 points per game. He's averaging 23.5 points per game because he's not shooting as much. He's passing the ball more. AD scoring is up. His assists are up. Talking about LeBron there. Like, LeBron can be whatever you need him to be. You can be the passer, the point guard, the facilitator, the rebounder, the scorer. Whatever you need him to be, he's going to do it. But stop saying 22 ball, man, he's slowing down. No. Like, even if it was peak LeBron, this is what LeBron has always wanted to be. He never wanted to be the guy that led them in scoring every single. He loves that AD's doing all this. And in fact, that's why he's fresher, deeper into these playoffs and all that stuff. But he's coming for 5, baby. And then number 6. And then we can have these conversations again.
See how they just go off the lamb? They ain't even made it out this round yet. They talking about championship number 5 and 6. Goodness gracious.
You think they beat Denver?
No.
I don't have time for this. We're out of time.
Got time?
Got time? Kenner and Cap, 1410 Wing AM.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Want to experience a truly unbeatable trio? Stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken and try a 3-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 3 of our freshly marinated honey-dipped premium strips, 1 famous dipping sauce, 2 unbeatable sides, and a fluffy biscuit. It's the trifecta of craveable chicken. Discover why premium strips make the perfect meal. Pick up a 3-piece strips meal from Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Need an online notary? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. We can notarize your documents remotely at no charge to you. All you need is a smartphone or laptop. Visit courthouse2u.com for more info.
Live life to the fullest. You hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain, right? Hey, it's Keith Byers. QC Kinetics is in the business of giving people back their quality of life and providing much needed relief for chronic joint pain. And not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible, using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologic. Where is your joint pain? In your knees, hips, shoulders, or back? Well, QC Kinetics concentrates these highly impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. And best of all, you walk into the office and walk right out after treatment. No surgery, no downtime, and patients are raving about the results. So what does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally, being able to play golf, hike, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, whatever it is, don't wait one more day. Get started today with a call to QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation. 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
At Harley-Davidson of Xenia, the atmosphere is positively electric as we look to the future. Our name may have changed, but Harley-Davidson of Xenia has been locally owned since 1984. Under our new management, the staff and store are buzzing to get you set up for the open road. Whether you're shopping for merchandise, a new bike, or just need some maintenance on your current ride, Harley-Davidson of Xenia is here for you. Visit us online to learn more and to place a reservation on your new bike. hdofxenia.com.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
If you haven't been to Chevrolet of Troy, you have to stop in today. Selection has never been better with over 300 new and pre-owned vehicles available, in stock and ready to go. It's the best in the region. We always accept employee and supplier pricing, and we make financing easy. Customer service is our top priority because we care about you. With thousands off MSRP, a full-service, state-of-the-art dealership, and huge selection, make Chevrolet of Troy your first choice. 1375 South Market Street and online at ChevroletofTroy.com.
Paid actor, not a real customer. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 44-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Welcome to Ethos, a new kind of insurance company that believes life insurance should be hassle-free, affordable, and accessible for everyone.
For around $1 a day, I got a 20-year, $250,000 term life insurance policy without a medical exam. All I had to do was answer a few health questions and snap, family protected. It was quick and easy. Ethos is 100% online. I got a quote in seconds, applied in minutes, and got coverage in hours. Just answer a few health questions. No medical exam, no blood tests, no hassle. Look, nobody wants to plan for the unthinkable, but it would be so much worse to not plan at all. So don't put it off. It feels great having the peace of mind knowing that my family is protected.
Ethos, the 100% online hassle-free way to get affordable life insurance. Don't wait. Get your free online quote now at ethoslife.com. That's ethoslife.com.
Here come Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Saturday, July 22nd, Rose Music Center at the Heights. 19 top 10 hits with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Reserved seats on sale this Friday, 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com and the Rose Music Center box office. Don't miss Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons live.
Paid actor, not a real customer. Quote based on a healthy, non-smoking 44-year-old male with a 20-year term policy. Rates may vary.
Welcome to Ethos, a new kind of insurance company that believes life insurance should be hassle-free, affordable, and accessible for everyone.
For around $1 a day, I got a 20-year, $250,000 term life insurance policy without a medical exam.